will not play in Thursday's preseason opener, nor does Chicago plan to play any of its starters in that game. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers will not play in any preseason games.
It's time. You know what time it is? Time. The game for Tuscaloosa's longest running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste the failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
And Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a big good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. I am not your host, Ryan Fowler. I am the producer, Wyatt Fulton, and I host my own show from 11 to noon, as many of you know. But I am filling in for Ryan just for this first segment here. He is out on assignment. He can choose to provide more details to that if he wants. When he gets into the studio here, I will get you guys rocking and rolling here through this first segment today on the game. Ryan's got a good show scheduled for you guys today, though. He's going to have Mike Detillier on the big, I believe it's WWL. He is going to have Mike on pretty much as soon as he gets into the studio. Ryan will be here about 2:15, 2:20-ish. Mike will get on right about that same time as well. And then Senator Tommy Tuberville, the former head coach of the Auburn Tigers, now senator here in the great state of Alabama. Ryan's going to have them on today as well. And as always, your phone calls right here at 205-342-9904. We've got a line available for you guys right here out of the gate. You can also download that free Tide 100.9 app and leave us an app message that way as well. Talk with Ryan, talk with myself like that. And let's get things rocking and rolling today. As always, we want to say thank you for those of you who allow us to do what we love for a living, allow us to talk sports for a living. And once again, always just want to say thank you and allow you guys to take this conversation 205-342-9904 wherever you want to go, or like I said, that free Tide 100.9 app. We are talking a little bit of practice today. Why are we talking practice? Because the Alabama Crimson Tide has reported to fall camp today. The players reported today. As you see the pictures on social media. I know Malachi's I know his mother is very active with Alabama fans on social media. Both of her kids now are now members of the Crimson Tide. Her youngest son is now a preferred walk-on for the University of Alabama. Malachi, of course, is the senior defensive leader. The pictures are coming out. The players are lining up. The players are getting in the building, getting everything ready to go. And we'll start some practice tomorrow morning, right about 9 o'clock in the morning-ish. And then you'll start to hear from Kalen DeBoer as we continue to roll through fall practice here. We are one Jamison Williams, one Jahmyr Gibbs away from fall practice beginning here at the University of Alabama. And some of the things that people are interested in hearing and seeing from practice today or tomorrow at the University of Alabama. We talked about it all. We've talked about it all morning. We've talked about practice. Corey and Christian hit on it. I hit on it. Some of the things that people are excited to see. We're excited to see Jalen Milroe and what his passing progression looks like here at the University of Alabama this offseason. Of course, we know already Jalen Milroe is one of the best deep ball throwers in the country, but he struggled at times in the intermediate and the short passing game. So wanting to see what Jalen Milroe looks like in that aspect as well. Obviously, you're not really going to know until the pads come on, until they're starting to hit, until, the scrimmages is when when you'll be able to really tell with Jalen Milroe. Additionally, games, game one, everybody's going to be really excited. August 31st, we are a month and 1 day away from the start of the Alabama Crimson Tide season. So Jalen Milroe's progression in the passing game, I think it's something that a lot of people are really interested in, something that a lot of people want to see this upcoming season. It looks like his throwing motion's has changed a little bit. Excited to see what that looks like with the coaching of Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan as well there. And then, of course, the rest of the roster. Additionally, the wide receiver position. Who steps up as that wide receiver one for the University of Alabama. Of course, Jeremy Bernard was the A-Day hero with 3 catches, 122 yards. A lot of people were putting him in the conversation of, he can win the Biletnikoff. Can he? That's something, we'll start to discuss. We'll start to see this upcoming season as well. With the University of Alabama, who else steps up in that wide receiver room? Does Kendrick Law take that next step? I know Kalen DeBoer spoke very highly of him at SEC Media Days. Kalen DeBoer always speaks very highly of him whenever he gets a chance to. Additionally, with Kendrick Law, you've got guys like Kobe Prentice who have been in this program for a couple of seasons now, and it's their time. These are the guys that we always preach the next man up mentality here around Tuscaloosa, around the University of Alabama. These are the guys. These are the next men up. These are the players that are going to have to take a step for Alabama to be successful this upcoming season. So who steps up with Jeremy Bernard as kind of the mainstays in that wide receiver room? Is it Kobe Prentice? Is it Kendrick Law? Is it Bubba Hansen? Is it Ryan Williams? Is it Caleb Odom? Could it be Cole Adams? We'll see, and we'll start to kind of diagnose that and the little bit of the roster shakedown here throughout fall camp. I'm interested to see if we'll get a depth chart from Kalen DeBoer. Of course, Nick Saban always made a big stink about the depth chart, and it doesn't mean anything in fall camp. And we'd always get the depth chart, and we'd look at it, and it'd say, Jalen Miller or Ty Simpson, Jam Miller or Justice Haynes, Jeremy Bernard or Caleb Odom or Kendrick Law. So if you go down the old Nick Saban rosters and the old Nick Saban depth charts, it always was so-and-so or so-and-so. You never really got this idea of who was going to be the starter until you really saw the starting lineup in game one. I remember back when the Tua and Jalen the Tua and Jalen quarterback battle was going on, and that you saw Tua or Jalen. You were sitting in the living room. You were sitting in the stadium ready to see who was going to win the quarterback job, who won the quarterback job for the University of Alabama. And Nick Saban was asked on the sideline by the sideline reporter on the broadcast, who's going to get the first snap? Saban said, well, you've waited this long. Wait another 10 seconds and you'll see who runs out there. And, of course, we all know now that Tua Tagovailoa took the field. So no necessarily quarterback drama this upcoming season with Jalen Milroe as the expected returning starter. There shouldn't be any drama there, but some other positions that could see some changes as well. Who starts at the tackle spots? We're presumed that Caden Proctor is going to return to his starting spot at left tackle, but he does have to earn it. He is going to have to earn it. Has he earned it yet? Is he back with the starting lineup yet? We'll see what that looks like starting tomorrow with the rest of the roster. Who's got the upper hand in that right tackle position? That's a key position as well. Losing a guy like J.C. Latham in the top 10 of the NFL draft, that's a big position. That's a big spot that Alabama's going to have to fill this upcoming season. Who's going to win that spot? Is it Wilkin Formby? Is it Elijah Pritchett? Is it somebody we haven't talked about yet? Could it be a guy like Miles McVay that wins that starting spot? Potentially. Who knows? We'll see this upcoming season. We'll see beginning tomorrow with fall camp as well. Who steps up in the running back room? We know, obviously, the two guys that are probably going to lead the charge in Jam Miller and Justice Haynes, but does somebody else kind of challenge them? What's the pecking order between Jam and Justice Haynes? What is each running back good at? What is each running back able to do in the scheme, in the skill set of this Alabama offense? We'll see that. We'll start to kind of get introduced to that, and we'll be able to talk to some of these guys again. As you know, in the spring, we had player availability, coaching availability beyond just Kalen DeBoer. You go back to what Nick Saban was doing, and it was just Nick Saban. You got Nick Saban every 3 days, every 3 days probably, and that was it. And maybe a player or two. Nowadays, with Kalen DeBoer in the spring, we had 4 or 5 players, and it was just kind of, all right. You got Deontay Lawson, Malachi Moore, Tim Smith, Tim Keenan, and Q Rob. All right, go talk to them. Go figure it out. Go ask your questions. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. This is what it's like. This is the new era of Alabama football. So it's very interesting. It's a lot of fun. We're excited for what this is going to do. We're excited for fall camp, what fall camp is going to look like, and figuring out the pecking order on defense. Who steps up in that defensive line room and takes over as the premier dominant defensive lineman that Alabama's missed for the past couple of seasons? Who steps up at the edge rusher position, Bandit and Wolf, with the loss of guys like Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell in those rooms? How do those guys return, and who steps up in the absence of guys like Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell? Is it Quindarius Robinson? Is it Keanu Cote? Is it a freshman? Is it Quay Russaw? Could it be the guys like that? Who steps up on the other side? Is it LT Overton? Is it Jamarian Latham? Is it Keon Keeley? These are the questions that we're going to start to ask. We're going to start to get figured out. We're going to start to answer as we roll on into fall camp as well. We've also got the inside linebacker room. We know what that is. Deontay Lawson and Jihad Campbell. Lawson was actually announced to the Bronco Nagurski Award watch list earlier today. That award, I believe, is presented to the best defensive player in college football. Additionally to Deontay Lawson being named to that award, I believe Malachi Moore was as well. So Alabama's defensive duo, some of the two, I guess, most veteran guys returning in that defensive side of the ball or guys with starting experience on that defensive side of the ball. Deontay Lawson and Malachi Moore, they're the ones that are getting things rocking and rolling for Alabama, representing the Crimson Tide for not only the Nagurski Trophy, but also the Lott Impact Trophy. We wrote a story about that a little bit earlier last month as well. And then the secondary. This is what everybody's been asking. What is the secondary going to look like? Malachi Moore, we know what he's going to be. We know he's the strong safety. He mentioned that to me during my show, actually, at SEC Media Days out there in Dallas, Texas. You can go back and listen to that interview as well. He mentioned that on that Wednesday. He's going to be the strong safety. So who else is going to be filling in certain roles? Is Keon Sabb? What's he going to do? He was a starter for Michigan in spurts last season. His best game came in his last game with the Wolverines in the national championship game against, ironically, Kalen DeBoer and that Washington team. They are now, Kalen DeBoer, Keon Sabb, they are now both in Tuscaloosa. What's Keon Sabb going to look like as he came in midway through the spring semester last semester? What does Devontae Smith look like? What does his position look like? What does his role look like? As he was slated to be the starter last season before he suffered an injury during fall camp. What does a guy like Devontae Smith look like? What does Damani Jackson look like? We actually have not heard a ton from him throughout the practices for the University of Alabama. And I always say for cornerbacks, no news is good news. If you don't hear a cornerback's name called on TV, it means he did his job. He locked down the opposing receiver. The quarterback did not throw at him. I always think that corners are like offensive linemen. If you don't hear their name called, if you don't hear the position talked about, it means that they did a good job that day. They did not make a mistake. And, of course, because you only highlight the guys, it seems, when they make mistakes. So if you go through a game and if you go through a practice and you say, man, I didn't hear much about Damani Jackson today. What are we hearing about Damani Jackson? It seems like he's silent as all get out. That probably means he's doing a pretty decent job. He's doing a good job in what he's supposed to be doing with his playing style, with where he is on the field. So it sounds like Damani Jackson, or I guess the lack of sound from Damani Jackson, might mean that he's doing his job. He's doing what he's supposed to do. And what does that other cornerback position look like? With Xavier Brown, of course, he was the starting cornerback opposite Damani Jackson during the A-Day game. But then after A-Day, Alabama went and picked up Deshaun Jones, a starting cornerback from Wake Forest. Is that a guy that Alabama could potentially rely on while guys like Zay Mincy, Xavier Brown, Jalen Mbakwe, while these younger freshmen develop and get reps and understand the world of college and the world of college football? Is Deshaun Jones a guy that that Alabama can rely on throughout the process of developing some of these younger talent? We'll see starting tomorrow. And then, of course, I know a ton of people don't overly care about this, but it is still interesting. It is still a talking point. You lost Will Reichard, the NCAA leading point scorer from a season ago. What does it look like now with him gone? Of course, Alabama did pick up the one kicker in the country that was better than Will Reichard last season, Graham Nicholson, the Lou Groza Award winner from last season, awarded to the best kicker in the country. Alabama, he's now a member of Alabama's Crimson Tide. So what does he look like? Does the kicking competition get a little more heated up? Connor Talty was expected to take that step, but he didn't quite perform to the level that a lot of Alabama fans hoped he would during the A-Day game. So Alabama definitely got a lot of interesting things going on, got a lot of interesting tidbits, talents, excited to see what this looks like, excited to see this coaching staff again. I know that was something that a lot of people highlighted was the intensity and the coaching of guys like Kane Womack, of guys like Freddie Roach. I posted a video on my Twitter account during spring ball of Freddie Roach literally on his hands and knees, getting down and talking to Keon Keeley and coaching him up during a rep in spring practice. So is that something we'll see again? What does Jamarcus Shepard look like? What is Nick Sheridan doing with the quarterbacks? Who is Kalen DeBoer going around with? What is Alabama going to look like? Are we playing music again? I don't know. These are things that we always knew with Nick Saban. But with the introduction of the new coaching staff, with the introduction of Kalen DeBoer, this is something that we're kind of having to work through once again. We're kind of having to figure out what is going on. And maybe Ryan may be able to provide a little bit better insight into this. I don't know if he will or won't. That's up to his discretion. But I will say we are excited as fall practice does begin tomorrow. And then we'll be in basically fall camp all throughout until the first week of the season, which the first game is on August 31st, which means week 1 starts August 26th. So I imagine we'll pretty much go back to regular game week activities on that Monday, and then we'll get the normal press conferences, we'll get the hey coach, we'll get stuff like that beginning that Monday. So going to be a lot of fun today. Ryan should be here in just a few minutes, but we're going to go ahead and take this first break, get this first segment in our back pocket. When we come back, we're going to hopefully have Ryan Fowler on. If not, we're going to keep rocking and rolling here. And as soon as Ryan gets back into the building, he's going to have Mike Detillier on as soon as Ryan gets back into the building. And then at 3:30, Tommy Tuberville, senator for the state of Alabama and former head coach of the Auburn Tigers, is going to join Ryan Fowler on the game right here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. We'll be right back.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A heat advisory remains in effect for all of West Alabama until 9 o'clock tonight. Temperatures in the upper 90s and high humidity levels will produce a heat index upwards of 108 degrees. Controversy over an alleged racial slur used by a white co-owner of the iconic Nick's Original Filet House in West Tuscaloosa continues. The NAACP has called for a boycott of the landmark restaurant and asked for an apology. With classes resuming next week, school and health officials are advising parents to get their students.
Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
With only 43 seconds remaining, facing a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line at Jordan-Hare Stadium, quarterback Jalen Milroe finds himself under immense pressure, scrambling to connect with Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone for a miraculous come-from-behind victory over Auburn. The jaw-dropping 27-24 result came on the 10th anniversary of the Kick Six. Daniel Moore is proud to announce 4th and 31, his upcoming oil painting featuring the now famous Gravedigger play. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for limited edition fine art prints and canvases of 4th and 31. See the preliminary pencil sketch for the artist's full color painting at DanielMooreArt.com. Pre-order your artwork now by calling 1-800-735-2787 or by visiting DanielMooreArt.com.
Blue Spring Living Water is located in Bluntsville, Alabama, Blount County, about an hour north of Birmingham. Blue Spring Living Water is harvested and bottled from a centuries-old natural spring on a private family farm. Blue Spring is an all-natural water source that flows just under 1 million gallons a day. They have partnered with Waterway of Alabama, and they've been in the water delivery business for over 30 years. To have Blue Spring Living Water delivered right to your home, right to your front door every month. New customers get their 5 jugs for $50, and the empties are exchanged every month for new ones. I know we have it at the Fowler household. We drink more water because of BlueSpringLivingWater.com. You can sign up at 205-602-3426. Talk to someone directly. Blue Spring Living Water can also be found. Mark Smart.
Text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
MedCenterUrgentCare.com. We expect the unexpected. Locations in Tuscaloosa, Northport, North River, right there off Rice Mine Road, Fayette, Demopolis, Hoover. The great doctors, urgent care, family medicine, injuries, occupational health, sports physicals. We do expect the unexpected. MedCenterUrgentCare.com. The online check-in available. Significantly reduce your wait time. The super doctors who live and work in Tuscaloosa. MedCenterUrgentCare.com. Don Wallace CPA, 527 Main Avenue in downtown Northport. Small business and personal income taxes, payroll, sales tax needs. They can also help you with nonprofit or church accounting or auditing. In business since 1999. They work for you, not the IRS. When you take on taxes, you got to have someone on your side. It's Don Wallace CPA.
Stores and Protect.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP Extended Life Oil Filter for $37.99.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823. Custom curbing for your home or business. Do away with those plastic individual stone borders. Go for that more permanent, decorative concrete border. No more grass growing between those individual stones. Cleaner to edge to maintain. They're willing to travel, not just here in Tuscaloosa, but also in our neighboring states as well over in Mississippi. Many colors and choices. They'll customize for that individual taste and house. Give them a call at 205-331-6823. You could also go to their Facebook account. Find their page. You can see exactly what the videos. They came out, did a free quote. Paul gave me an evaluation. Give them a call, 205-331-6823.
800-709-6712. 800-709-6712. That's 800-709-6712.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's hot and humid this afternoon. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Highs topping out near 95 degrees. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies, low near 75. And tomorrow, another hot day with mostly sunny skies and a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
The longest running sports show in Tuscaloosa.
The fastest I've ever driven from the football building. That meeting went a little bit later than what I expected, but I was putting that Tuscaloosa Toyota Highlander in the wind. Thankfully, it's got a lot of power, so I'm very thankful for that. I appreciate Mike Detillier for being flexible. Wyatt Fulton, thank you for getting this show started. We're going to be with you all the way until 6 o'clock, and always good to be back in the football building. Practice starts tomorrow on the campus of the University of Alabama. We were just kind of going through some protocols and talking about what exactly, this transition from an afternoon team to a morning. Mike Detillier, I hope you're doing well. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa. A lot of buzz around fall practice starting all around the SEC.
No question about it. Football is here, and between covering Saints practice and now with LSU and Tulane and everybody else, football's here.
Mike, I want to ask you, when you look at this 105, because very few people can help us understand this the way that you do your job. You cover the NFL, you cover college. The 105, and I know people's easy rebuttal is, well, the NFL does it with 53, but they also do it with a large practice squad. And if someone has an injury, they can go get a free agency. Can college football navigate with 105 total players from a roster limitation standpoint? Can you manage that?
Yeah, I think you can. Ryan, for me, in today's world of you having to play freshmen more than you've ever had, and the lifetime of college football, I think it gives you that opportunity. So 105 to me is not an issue because of the fact that for a lot of these highly recruited freshman players that'll go to an Alabama or go to a Florida State or Georgia or LSU, Texas, whatever, the first thing they tell me is, hey, I want to play. But first you got to prove you can play. As a freshman, some guys can, other guys can't. And we've had Brian Kelly on, and Brian kind of pointed out a few freshmen last year that, as he described it, weren't physically and mentally ready for the challenge, every snap. And so you have to be limited with them. But I think with so much freshman play today, I don't think there's any doubt that 105 is going to be fine.
Well,
because as you point out, you can't go out and find you a guy.
Well, but from my standpoint, let me just say this, because a lot of guys want to wear the jersey of LSU. A lot of guys want to wear the jersey of Alabama, and they come out and they're the scout team guys. They're very important to what you do, and I know you want to have the guys that you want to redshirt, but we're talking about counting on younger players. How do you come up with a scout team, a quality scout team? Because a lot of those guys are just there. I hate to use the word tackling dummy, but many times that's what it is. It is they're sacrificing their body for the betterment of the football team.
A lot of those players I see today, and this sort of started a little bit the beginning when Coach Orgeron took over, that he would offer that young man an opportunity to come play LSU football. A lot of times those guys had scholarship offers somewhere else and decided, you know what, I've always dreamed of putting that purple and gold. I don't care if I'm a scout team guy or not. I'm gonna go. And so you understand sort of what's the cut and what's not. It's not going to be a major issue unless you have injuries at one spot. And Ryan, I'll guarantee you that that's what happens on a team. At a spot, it's just not one. You don't have a defensive tackle down and a tight end down and your number 2 center down. What you got is probably 2 defensive tackles go down. You got a couple centers are nicked up, and it hits a couple spots really hard. That's the challenge for every coach. I don't care if you at LSU or if you at North Dakota or Nicholls State University or Sam Houston, Grambling, you name it. Every coach's fear is when those injuries start and it hits in one spot. Because you can deal with a guy down at wide receiver or even 2 guys down. You can deal with 2 running backs down. You start nicking away at the big men. And you got to play young guys today. Offensive, defensive line. In the 2s or scout team. That's what's the real fear of once you start with those injuries, it happens. And this a few years back, Coach O had asked me to do kind of a breakdown of the injuries and where it hits the most. Well, offensive line was number 1, tackles, guards. Then it became defensive tackle, secondary, running back. That's how it broke down. Of guys who miss games, not practice time, but games. And so it hits you with the big men. That's the biggest one. And biggest fear for any coach anywhere in America if you're covering college football. Because it's not just one player that goes down. You normally get multiple. And then how do you deal with it from a big man standpoint? And we talked about this a little bit off the air with defensive line, with offensive line. Once those guys start going down, it seems to be it's a series of injuries. And Brian had that year 1 with the offensive line. And his sweat was, I'm playing 2 freshman tackles already. With Will Campbell's really good. And Emory Jones is really good. But they didn't have a lot of depth, and they started to have some injuries there. Man, it became tough, really tough for a scout team. And so they were having centers play tackle, a tight end play tackle. You got to improvise at that particular point. So injuries up front, and I always tell this to people who first start covering college football, is the one thing with Kelly, I'll give him full credit. He's much better than or less about injuries. He would sort of give you an NFL list about, this guy's down. He won't practice today. He won't practice tomorrow. This guy's out indefinitely. This guy's a maybe. He almost did it like a pro coach would. And has done it better than anybody at LSU in my time of giving you that information. That wasn't there in the past. So watch the big men. And because that's the hardest areas when you talk about a scout team.
Well, and that's just trying to navigate all this. I mean, there's so much change. I saw a coach, Mac Brown's who it was. He said, I think he'd been in 48 years, and he said, you can add everything that's changed in the college football in the last 2 years, and it would not even equal what happened in the first 46 of my career. He said,
I agree with it.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's an adjustment period. Our eyes are having to adjust to all this, and it's not stopping, Mike. I mean, it seems like every week there's a new element that's added to the new college football.
And people wonder why, and these coaches are cheating. Well, a lot of it is the rules change. Okay, the rules change almost from week to week, month to month. I've talked to a couple of assistant coaches. What you maybe could have done 5 years ago, you can't do today, and now you can do today what you couldn't do 5. I mean, most people. Okay, it's an old line. My old friend Buddy DiLiberto used to always talk about the 10 Commandments. Most people can't follow them right. What the hell are you going to do with a bookload of stuff that you can't do? And he's right about, and he was right about that. There's that fine line sometimes in dealing with athletes that's on campus, that you're recruiting, everything else. Ryan, it's really tough. That's why today you see more college assistants and pro coaches. I mean, coaches that would look toward the NFL that years ago would never take that glance because it's gotten so complicated over the last, say, 36 months in college football.
Mike, I noticed Bill Conley put up a top 25 of players in the 21st century since 2000. And from an LSU perspective, he's got Joe Burrow as the first player in LSU. Is he the best player you've seen since 2000 in a Tiger uniform?
Oh, yeah. He changed the culture here. And he was the ultimate alpha dog as a leader, too. I've had a lot of the assistant coaches who have moved on now will tell me, we would sort of want to talk to the team after the game. Now, you had to wait till Joe finished. Joe had his talk.
Wow.
Didn't have anything more to add. Ed told me the same thing. Like, what can I add that he didn't say? He was like a coach. But what he did to change a position that had really been quicksand for LSU at quarterback, he changed that quickly, and he came in here in 2018 was a good player. Then he became a great player. The guy that I thought on defense, though, Tyrann Mathieu, oh my God. He was a guy who was a middle range recruit.
He's number 23 on the top 25 list, by the way.
Man, Ryan, I'm just telling you, he was a middle range recruit. I saw him at St. Aug. He was, he's not a very, very big guy at all. You couldn't teach smarts, instincts, where to be out on the field. As a true freshman, we allowed to watch one of these practices. It was though somebody had handed him a script and said, this is what they're going to run. He was never out of position. Never out of position. It was remarkable to watch him as a freshman and a sophomore. I mean, issues got involved with him his junior year that sort of had lingered from the first couple of years. But, man, you talk about a guy that tilted the field. It was him. He tilted it every time he stepped on that field. And if you'd meet him on the street, you'd say, "That's no way. No way that guy was that dominant a player at LSU and that dominant a player certainly in the NFL. And, you know, Father Time is catching up with him, and he admits that particular part. He can still play, maybe not at the same level. And the only other guy, and he played a little bit as a freshman, but as sophomore, junior, Glenn Dorsey as a defensive tackle. Good gracious. And doing LSU pregame at that time, anybody LSU was going against, their coaches would say, we have to double team him every play. Every play, Glenn Dorsey has to be double teamed. Because if you let him just do what Glenn Dorsey wanted to do, he's going to take over a game. Great college player. Was an okay NFL player, could never flip the switch. But, Ryan, he was good. He was really special as a player. And Kevin Falk, offensively, as a runner and a receiver. And at a time when LSU was really having difficulties keeping the top players in the state of Louisiana, they were going to Florida State, Miami of Florida, Oklahoma, Texas. Kevin was the first kind of put the finger, in the hole, so to speak, to keep the leakage out. And he was outstanding college football player, became a very good NFL player too, but man, he was special. He wasn't a big guy either, but man, he could run with power and leverage, and his eye vision was just tremendous.
Mike Detillier, WWL, the Big 870. Mike, I'm going to be respectful of your time. I know you got a show coming up in a couple of hours, about an hour and 18 minutes. And Mike, I know you got prep meeting and all that. I say thank you. I'm sorry I'm a little bit late. I know I called you this morning, kind of gave you a little bit of heads up, but even a little bit late than maybe what I expected. So I appreciate you, Mike, as always. We'll talk to you next week, man. Have a great show this afternoon on WWL, the Big 870 with you and Bobby Hebert and company. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it, buddy.
Appreciate you, no doubt. Mike Detillier helping us out. We will talk with Coach Tuberville, Senator Tommy Tuberville, coming up around 3:25. So we'll take phone calls until then. Great to be energized, right? I mean, we are now less than 24 hours away. The countdown is here from Alabama football spring practice. Excuse me. I keep saying spring. This has nothing to do with spring. It's fall. It's fall. I mean, it's no longer playtime, which is not saying that spring practice is playtime. We'll dive into that coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll take phone calls. I look up at the call board. Robert in Mobile, I see you. And we will continue because I know we could not get everybody in yesterday, even though we have already given away the Vortex binoculars. That was just for a Monday thing that we were doing. They're special with those guys. We'll continue with our entry in. You're welcome to share your Jalen Milroe passing predictions if you want to do that. But phone line's completely jammed up. We'll take your phone calls. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide.
Best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Big Mike's downtown Moundville, only about 15 minutes from where I'm located. Also in Gunnersville, Alabama, Thomasville, Andalusia, Auburn, Alabama, Orange Beach. You'll find one of the best steaks in the state of Alabama, voted by the Alabama Cattlemen's Association and many other great publications recognizing the great ribeye, the seafood entrees. You'll find those, the great service.
So good, it'll leave her speechless.
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and Local Roots.
With only 43 seconds remaining, facing a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line at Jordan-Hare Stadium, quarterback Jalen Milroe finds himself under immense pressure, scrambling to connect with Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone for a miraculous come-from-behind victory over Auburn. The jaw-dropping 27-24 result came on the 10th anniversary of the Kick Six. Daniel Moore is proud to announce 4th and 31, his upcoming oil painting featuring the now famous Gravedigger play. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for limited edition fine art prints and canvases of 4th and 31. See the preliminary pencil sketch for the artist's full color painting at DanielMooreArt.com. Pre-order your artwork now by calling 1-800-735-2787 or by visiting DanielMooreArt.com.
The Game with Ryan.
Say you don't care who goes to that kind of place.
Hours away from Alabama's first practice tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. The complex will open, and that will be the first practice leading into what would be hopefully the road to number 19. I don't know if that's reasonable, but we've been on the road to 19 for a few years. It's been a little bit bumpy at times. But hopefully they can continue at this pace. But it all starts with the quarterback. That's why we started with the quarterback yesterday. When you look at some of this yardage prediction, and you guys were a little large on some of those predictions. I like it. I think you can justify it. The largest prediction that we had was 4251. Pat did the Wheel of Fortune type, not Wheel of Fortune. What's the game? Price is Right. Price is Right. Where you, I don't know where I got Wheel of Fortune. Man, I'm off my game. I guess I'm still kind of absorbing for the last, about 2 hours, about an hour and 45 minutes in there. So still trying to absorb all that content. Alabama, I think you guys are going to be excited because, hey, we'll get some of those announcements coming up at 3 o'clock. So Wyatt, I didn't even tell you this, but be expecting an Alabama email about 3 o'clock with some good news. So we'll leave it at that. Let's continue, and we go to Robert in Mobile. Robert, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Oh, man, I missed out on the binoculars.
You did.
Couldn't get in at all.
Well, I mean, we just, it's kind of a busy day. Busy couple of days, and, we had a lot of animals outside. They were kind of flying around out on the balcony here. We were, I think Ellis called them? He called them buzzards. So I don't know. That could be a word that we could use. But, like I said, this year's winning packages is going to be based on the amount of participation throughout the offseason. So, people that we haven't heard from since January, 1 bag of naturally organic pocket lint. Somebody like yourself, Robert, who makes a contribution quite often, you're going to, your package will be based on performance. I mean, that's the way we do it on NIL. Why not here?
Yeah, of course, not the American way. American way is DEI, or DIE, like I like to call it. but you're a capitalist, and so I like that.
So I'm kind of pretending, but maybe not. You never know. I mean, I guess so. You never know.
It's merit based. I like that.
Well, we might have a little bonus in there for some of those frequent flyers and those mileage collectors. So it is, but a lot of excitement. And like I said, we were kind of running through some practice protocols and making sure that with a new coaching staff, but from an access standpoint. We don't know what to do with ourselves, right? I mean, it's just, it's one of those that, and we're I feel like, and maybe Robert, you may feel different, but we're the conduit, right, between the Alabama program and the fans, right? I mean, Alabama has a large fan base, and it is a fan base that, the evidence is here. I do a local sports radio show in Tuscaloosa, but at the end of the day, it is I wouldn't say a national show, but it's more of a regional show simply based on the love of Alabama football. We are hopefully that connection back to T-Town.
So what was the highest yard someone picked yesterday?
Yeah, it was 42-51. 42-51. So, yeah.
What did Mac Jones and Tua, how did they do on their fans? They were 5,000, weren't they?
Yeah, no. Bryce Young, I think, broke the single season record, and he was somewhere around. It was almost 5,000, but it was not. It was in the 40. It was 49 something.
Wow.
Yeah, I can look.
Well, there's a reason for that. Unfortunately, he had to play all those minutes in the game.
Yeah.
Whereas Mac and Tua had to sit out.
And this is another part of the juggle: is how do you calculate because now we're going to play more games. I mean, because remember now, Robert, you were a huge playoff guy. Now, if you look at, I'm not saying sacks or rushing yards or receiving yards, but records are going to start being broken. They're going to start drifting away. But and I was actually wrong a little bit. It was 48-72 was Bryce. So I knew he was getting close. I thought he was in the 49. So Mac Jones was a lot lower than that. But Bryce he's got the single season record at 48-72.
You never would have imagined a quarterback for Alabama would pass for 4,800 yards, and we don't just totally destroy college football with the championship. But that's how it went.
And to think about Bryce Young walking out of here and never winning a national title as a starter, that's hard to absorb. But even going back prior to that, let's go back to A.J. McCarron. A.J. McCarron set the single-season record twice, and he did it with 2,900, and I think there was another yards where, it was a lot lower. So, that's big topic. Big topic. I mean, when you think about where the production is, but go back and look at the balance of those teams.
Yep.
Balance. It works, man. It works. And I think this team is going to be balanced. I think we've said it all throughout the offseason. This is not going to be an air raid offense. It's going to be balanced. I think
it was the defense. It was the defense. The defense, just wasn't as good. I mean, if we had the same team, the same offense with the 2010 defense or 2011 defense, different story. Everything's different. They dominate college football. We're saying is this the greatest team of all time? That's just how it goes, unfortunately. I guess the game has changed. Although I think it's starting to revert back a bit. I think a lot of these scores are going to start coming down, and these yards are going to start coming down too. Like you said, I think they're going to go more balanced, more for a balanced offense. And the defense, I think, are just going to get a little more sophisticated, getting a little better, So hopefully we'll be able to capitalize on that as well. Our defense was pretty decent last year. It's just that the offensive plays, and particularly the offensive line, held us back. So hopefully we'll get that'll improve. With that being said, Jalen Milroe is definitely going to have more yards. But the running game, I don't know if he'll reach 4,000 simply because of his running ability. I think because this is the money year here. I mean, this is your money year, Jalen. I know you know that. So you're going to have to show all the goods this year. And I think he's going to, light it up running as well.
As much as we talk about competition, and you could say competition in a different way, I don't think Jalen Milroe, and we've said it from the spring, we didn't think he was going to lose his starting job, okay? But there's a difference between losing your starting job and getting pushed. Ty Simpson can push Jalen Milroe. I mean, I think these guys can competition, even though in our society we've kind of fabricated it out, manufactured it out, kind of, it's a bad thing. Yeah, competition. Well, it's a good thing, especially when you've got this talent of a quarterback room that they can push one another. That's a good thing when you've got the quality. And I think this may be the first, my kind of clue with the college football playoffs is deep quarterback rooms are going to have a big advantage because you're not going to be able to navigate this schedule without bumps and bruises. You're just not at that quarterback spot. You see it at the next level. Many times they have to go to that second and even beyond the second quarterback.
Well, it's going to be tougher to get those games to where you can just, sit out a whole quarter. Like you said, we're reading why Bryce was able to get all his yards. And Mac Jones and Tua didn't because a lot of Tua's was injury. But he sat out a lot of whole quarters as well that he didn't have to play. And so did Mac. There were some quarters he didn't have to play. But Bryce, unfortunately, because the game's so close, he had to play a lot more minutes, and that took its toll down the stretch, like you said. Alabama stayed healthy. They'd have beaten Georgia and won another national championship. But that's part of the game. So we lost that. So my prediction is he's going to run more. I'm almost positive of that. So that's going to be a factor. I'm looking for him to hit that ceiling, which is, in my opinion, Cam Newton 2.0. And so therefore, I'm thinking he'll, as you said, he had how much to me last year?
28-34. 28-34.
Oh, he's going to, the boy's going to improve that. I think, maybe 27 34. I'm giving him
So you're
27,
going less, Robert?
I'm sorry. I'm going, 37 is kind of high.
Oh, so you're saying 37, not 27.
Yeah, that's kind of high. Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah. Maybe 3,500, only because I think he's going to run more.
Okay.
And he may get, almost 1,000 yards rushing, I think.
Okay.
Next season. So I'm going to go 3,500 even.
I got it.
Yeah, and then they
right.
good.
Robert, I appreciate you, man, so much.
Oh, well, no, one question about the, getting pushed. You want to get pushed, but you don't want to get pushed out, as our current president found out. So, all right, guys, see you later.
Look at Robert. He takes a quarterback competition and twists it back to politics. It's the intersection. I saw where Joe Burrow kind of got drug into that as well, but it is a political climate, and it'll be like that for probably the next 92 days. I don't know how you can avoid it. Maybe football season will be here, but just like I told P&O Man in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, I think this country is worth fighting for. I love it. Many of you love it as well. And we'll continue being a great American. Let's continue with Joe in Dothan. We'll get to him coming up in a couple of minutes. Bama Nick, I see you. We're going to work our way to you. We will talk with Coach Tuberville coming up in about 20 minutes. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Nuke's Eatery, they're on the fringe of the campus of the University of Alabama, close enough that you can smell the championships. The Nuke's Goose sandwich, still the number one sandwich across the franchise. The French dip sandwich, I think, is going to challenge for that number one spot. The double club, the single club, you can pair those up with a great sandwich, salad, California-style pizzas, all available for catering from a group of 5 to 500, a small office party to a large corporate event. Joel Bromfield, they've done a great job for my family. They'll do a great...
Starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Don Wallace CPA, 527 Main Avenue in downtown Northport. Small business and personal income taxes, payroll, sales tax needs. They can also help you with nonprofit or church accounting or auditing. In business since 1999, they work for you, not the IRS. When you take on taxes, you got to have someone on your side. It's Don Wallace CPA, 205-345-5595, 205-345-5595. Don Wallace CPA, the official accountant of the game. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. As you know, it's one of my favorite places. Eat Southern, be Southern, the daily lunch and dinner specials, the great menu that features that Southern cuisine, like the bacon wrapped meatloaf, the fish and taters, the biscuit sandwiches, the great steaks, the great chicken entrees, great sandwiches, including the pickle burger, the Ale House burger, the yard bird, great desserts, and always that featured bread pudding that Brett Garner's cooking up. Let Southern Ale House cater your special event by calling Taylor at 205-248-7500. Call ahead orders always welcome. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's hot and humid this afternoon. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Highs topping out near 95 degrees. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies, low near 75. And tomorrow, another hot day with mostly sunny skies and a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Beyer.
Starting off in the Olympic Games for the U.S. women's gymnastics team, captured gold today in the team final in Paris, Italy. They grabbed the silver. Brazil won bronze. U.S. women grabbed the bronze in rugby sevens, their first ever medal in the event, doing so in dramatic fashion. While in tennis, there was drama today at Roland Garros. American Coco Gauff eliminated in women's singles. She was not happy with the call late in that match, a match that she ultimately lost. However, Gauff and Taylor Fritz did advance in mixed doubles. In men's doubles, the team of Rafael Nadal and Carlos Alcaraz advanced to the quarters for Spain. Baseball's trade deadlines at 6 o'clock Eastern time tonight. Guardians are getting pitcher Alex Cobb from the San Francisco Giants. Speaking of the Guardians, they topped the Tigers today 5-0. Diamondbacks got first baseman Josh Bell from the Marlins. Florida also dealt lefty Trevor Rogers to the Orioles. Bears won't play Caleb Williams in the Hall of Fame game Thursday against the Texans.
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. She loves to laugh, she loves to sing, she does everything. She loves to move, she loves to groove, she loves to love a thing. All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, ooh baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. She said, any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. I was alone, I never knew what good love could do. Then we touched, then we sang about the loving thing. All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, baby, hold tight. Oh, she said, any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. Oh, I said, any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
All right, we welcome you right back into the game here in Tuscaloosa. Tide at 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hours away from Alabama's first practice. Alabama will transition from an afternoon practice team to a morning practice team. Let me invite you, and I think this is something that is a great reminder, and I know that we're going to help out a lot of our morning folks with the lineup, because it is going to be a little bit of a challenge. When Nick Saban would talk at 6:15, that really didn't interfere with a lot of us. But when you talk about, I know Gary there, and we're there to provide some access. We'll have some, if I have to hold up a phone and do a press conference there, and the availability, I know that Wyatt's going to be right there. Probably, Wyatt, your angle is probably going to be at 11 o'clock. That's probably going to be the majority of a lot of those press conferences. So I would imagine that you guys would be playing those as often as you possibly can. And we're looking at that media schedule. And like I said, I think it's a home run for the fans, because, many of you want to know more about this Alabama football program. We've tried to do that this offseason. We've tried to go out and explore, who is Kalen DeBoer, who is Nick Sheridan, who is Kane Womack, who is, Courtney Morgan, and try to explore these different topics of conversation. I hope that you've enjoyed that. It does not, I will say this, as we close down the off season and practice opens up, I do not feel like that was an off season. It was chaotic. It was replacing a legend, but there was a lot of content. I mean, whether it was recruiting side of things, but it was very electric throughout the offseason. I can't remember an offseason as busy as that one. That one's one of those that they have connected the dots quite nicely. When you look at the recruiting side of things, from college football standpoint, I think the NFL does as well of a job as you possibly can do with keeping the conversation going 24/7, right? 365. They do it, whether it's the NFL draft, whether it's free agency, whether it's the OTAs, the mini camps, the mandatory, voluntary, all these different things around the NFL. It's one of the reasons why the NFL has become the number one popular sport, and it's not even close. College football is trying to push and really grab that number 2 spot. I think they've got it, and I think college football has filled the gaps in nicely. Let's take your phone calls. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Some 8 great interest specials happening there on Skyline Boulevard and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com, and those will expire tomorrow unless they are extended, including the 1.99 APR for 36. The Camry, 3.99 APR. That is the 2025. And if you look at the fuel efficiency of that, over 50 miles per gallon. That's always helpful. The RAV4, some great deals when we talk about the interest special there, 2.99 APR for 36. You say, well, I can't do 36. Let me do 48. Well, it goes up, slightly. The Highlander, 3.99 for 36. The big one sales event, the great inventory you can see online at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Joe Dothan. Joe, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well, Ryan. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, it's good to see your name pop up on the screen, my friend.
Ryan, I don't get to listen much live due to my work schedule, but I always listen to the replay on the app. I never miss an episode. And I got to tell you, last Friday, it was so great to hear Danny G. Foley call in, Ryan. That was just awesome.
It was, and now, and I don't know if, it's kind of like Alabama has went through a change with a new head football coach. Democracy Dan. That's going to be one of those that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. But we'll call him, Sue if he wants to be a Sue.
Brian, hey, if he calls, we'll call him whatever he wants to be called.
Yeah, and I mean, and he's quickly made his way back, in the top 10 according to Bama Nick. Bama Nick's got him back in there. So, and Bama Nick's, being the number one guy, he gets to, line up who is in that spot, and he says Danny's right back in there. So,
well, absolutely. And then listen, now my favorite callers. I mean, of course, Bama Nick, number one caller, America's Georgia.
Sure,
everybody knows that. And then you got Paul from
like
Lincoln.
Alabama. Everybody's just playing for second place.
Oh, no doubt. And you got Paul from Lincoln.
Okay.
He doesn't call very often anymore, but Rich from Atlanta, and Robert from Mobile. Now, another one I just want to mention, and we'll move on. Another one of my favorite callers, Ryan, we hadn't heard from in several weeks. There's rumors.
He's campaigning, yeah.
I've heard the rumors. I was hoping you could deny and dispute those rumors. I'm hoping they're not true.
Well, let me tell you, he was hired by George Soros to stand behind Kamala, and they're trying to make smart people look, behind, because it's kind of hard to fabricate numbers. And so one of our callers was recruited, and he's paid a pretty large sum of money to travel around. And they try to rotate. They'll have makeup artists, and they'll decorate these guys. So one day, he'll be this, and the next day he'll be this. They put him behind Kamala on these campaigns because, it's kind of hard to, rally a crowd when you've done so much to destroy this economy. You really don't. I mean, what are you running on? I mean, other than you're not Donald Trump, what are you running on? Tony has been recruited away, and we're missing him. The pharmacy at Midtown, I checked with them just to see if maybe, his NIL deal has been canceled. They're still hanging on, but they said they can't wait much longer. So he's going to have to make a decision. Kamala or the game?
You answered my next question, Ryan. That was going to be my next question. Is his NIL deal, is it in jeopardy? I'm glad you answered that one.
It is. No, it is. It is. I mean, he's going to have to make a decision. And I mean, he can call in, but, they may have taken, their cell phone away. I don't know, but he's working it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what would it pay? Like, what would
I heard Google won't allow him to associate with your program. That you're an election denier is what they've labeled you.
Oh, okay. I'm
teasing.
I would probably be in that group. I don't think, if I have to show an ID to get in the gym, surely we have to, one of the, biggest things of being a citizen of the United States, surely we can show an ID to vote. But, some people don't see it that way.
No, I completely agree. I was just having some fun with you, Brian. Now,
I just found a box of ballots here in the Tide studio. I don't know where they
put those. Are they heading to Wisconsin?
Okay, yeah.
I was hiding that.
Yeah. And some of these you got to watch these election observers. Like it is. It's unique. I used to know a guy here that was an election observer. This guy was a radical. I mean, he was a radical leftist. And he'd go running down to the courthouse, and he'd watch over it. And I'm thinking, what'd you have in the back of your trunk of your vehicle? Yeah, is that what they call an election observer? But anyway, I got a box right here. I just found it. The guy just dropped it off. I don't know where this is at, but it's. They were showing some of. Anyway, Lord, you guys have got me. Here, look at this. I mean,
now, Ryan. We are transitioning to Senator Tuberville, so we have an excuse.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah, he'll call in here in a couple of minutes, and
That's right.
You know, and people, I know I always get criticism every time I get Coach on. Okay? I want to say this, and I'm going to say it the right way. Okay? He's one of the most important seats up there. Because if you look at the Senate advantage, what if that nut, Doug Jones, would have been elected to go back and represent this state? And that majority would have been tilted to the other side. Just a minute. It's one of the most important seats, man. I'm glad we took that one back because we definitely did not that. You know, it was embarrassing to see Doug Jones up there representing the great state of Alabama. But, you know, when you look at Tommy Tuberville, yeah, he wears blue and orange. He's certainly a guy, but he votes the right way, and that's what's important to me.
I try not to think of him in the football life anymore. It's difficult, but I do try to do that.
Yeah.
But no, Ryan, did you say, I couldn't remember what Jalen Milroe's total was for last year. Was it 2,800 and something yards?
28-34.
Okay, I'm going to go, Ryan, I'm going to go 3,600.
Oh, okay. 3,600 from Joe in Dothan. Okay. And I feel like that this is going to be a year. What did Robert say? It's a money year for Jalen Milroe? I think it is a money year, right? I mean, we're talking about a young man who is getting listed at some of these preseason award watch lists. But when you talk about, you know, being that guy, I mean, Mike Detillier said it over and over and over. He reminds him so much of Jaden Daniels. Where he was and starting to make that transition. And he talked about the Manning Passing Academy a couple of weeks ago. He said they were literally shocked at the amount of difference that he made mechanically in his just basic throwing of the football.
Yeah, you're talking about Milroe?
I am, yeah.
That's outstanding. I'm very excited. I can't get here fast enough, Ryan. I can't wait. I certainly appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you, Joe. We appreciate you. Thank you. Let's continue with more phone calls. We do have... Well, and I'm going to hold over because we do have Coach Tuberville coming up. Why don't I break right here because it's at 14 after. He's going to call in. I want to make sure that I maximize every minute that I get. Coach Tommy Tuberville coming up in about 6 minutes in Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A heat advisory remains in effect for all of West Alabama until 9 o'clock tonight. Temperatures in the upper 90s and high humidity levels will produce a heat index upwards of 108 degrees. Controversy over an alleged racial slur used by a white co-owner of the iconic Nick's Original Filet House in West Tuscaloosa continues. The NAACP has called for a boycott of the landmark restaurant and asked for an apology. With classes resuming next week, school and health officials are advising parents to get their students back on a school sleep schedule now.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters.
Rumsey Environmental, a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. If you're in the construction business, take a little bit of stress out of your life. The construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site, the portable toilet service, the storage containers to protect your valuables. It's Rumsey Environmental for that complete waste removal service when you have to know.
Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
For over 5 years in our community in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge, Mark's Mark, the home of the chicken swirl. You'll find that since 1978 in Selma, Alabama, for over 5 years in downtown Northport. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, find Mark's Mark. A great stop by on your way home. If you're preparing for dinner, they've got a lot of those gourmet dishes that you can find, the great casseroles, the dips, the appetizers, the great steaks, the pork chops, the burgers, and all the supplies you need to dominate the grill. It's Mark's Mark for over 5 years in downtown Northport and since 1978 in Selma, Alabama. Mark's Mark, home of the Chicken Swirl. Alabama Credit Union with the official countdown to Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on the game, alabamacu.com. The mobile app saves a lot of time. The mobile deposits, checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle, the great competitive rates. Alabama Credit Union with great branches all over West Alabama and throughout the state of Alabama. Alabama Credit Union, alabamacu.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's hot and humid this afternoon. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Highs topping out near 95 degrees. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies, low near 75. And tomorrow, another hot day with mostly sunny skies and a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
God wasn't in it, he just stole a kiss as he rode away. He never hung his hat up.
All right, Coach Tommy Tuberville will be joining us coming up here in just a couple of minutes. We're going to take that phone call live. We'll go to the Capitol, the great United States of America. We'll go to Washington, D.C. He's finishing up a couple of meetings. There's been some things that we want to discuss, certainly some things that's on his mind, but we're also going to kind of explore, how can we serve in this upcoming election 2024? And we'll be one of the most wow. I mean, man, you can't think of, where would 4 more years of this destruction put us? Can't afford the groceries as it is. And I'm going to ask him some of the things that they're hearing out on the campaign trail and some other things. So he's running a couple of minutes late, and we'll get to him coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Let's go 205-342-9904. We'll go to Tommy, but Tommy, be patient now because I may have to put you back on hold for the senator.
No problem. Well, how are you today?
I'm good. It's been a busy day. I think it's the first time when I told White about this about a week and a half ago, I always try to be super respectful of the audience. I'm never one of those guys that tries to run in 4 or 5 minutes after the show starts, but I kind of lined this up with Wyatt and asked him if he could fill in for a couple of minutes, and we had a pretty important meeting that needed to happen, and it was good.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you didn't run over no pedestrian and the state trooper was not chasing you to the radio.
Well, I tried to get a, state trooper escort. But I couldn't do it, from the football building. And by the way, the traffic in this town is to an all-time level, okay? I used to be able to pull out of my house, and in 14 minutes I would be at the football complex. I know because I've driven it so much. Ask Don Wallace. It's on my IRS form often. Going to the football building. I mean, if the IRS is tracking me down, they're like, why in the world is he going to is it 315 or 323? 323 Bryant Drive. It could be 323. It could be 315. Either way, why is he going this place so often? But I do. Now that is now turned into about a 24-minute drive, and it's construction that doesn't have construction workers. You know what that means, don't you?
Yes.
Like, you go by, and I don't understand why. I mean, like, it's a beautiful day.
They got signs up there if you speed, they want to double your fine.
Yeah, I don't know if they're having to roll pennies like we used to have to pay the bills, but there's not a lot of construction workers on McFarland Boulevard, but they're slowing down that traffic. So it's now turned into, it's almost doubled my commute to the football building. And then from here to the football building, it's about 8-9 minutes. And now it's turned into about a 20-minute ride. So roll tide.
Wow.
White, I will tell you this, and this used to be something I used to do with Nick Saban's Wednesday press conference. I used to be able to leave here and make the press conference and play an interview to be able to get inside the building. That was back before some of the streaming and all that became more prevalent out there. So it's not possible anymore. I mean, because you can hit Greensboro from where we're at, or you can hit 359 and go back down. Now, the 15th Street Bridge going over the train tracks has helped. The new bridge, that saves a few minutes, but it's still a little bit of a challenge.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it helps a lot. I mean, it made a big difference. So, well, they're going to start practice at 9 o'clock tomorrow. I'm excited. I'm glad we're getting towards football season. And I just cannot believe that high school football will start on television August the 22nd on here. So, you know what? closer and closer. And I'm like, a little bit in 3 weeks, we'll be talking high school and college and all that good stuff. Thursday night, we'll have D'Amico Ryan and his team going against the Chicago Bears. I know it won't be much of a game, but at least it'll be football, something better than watching the boring Olympics. Oh, my God.
Why is it? I mean, hold on a minute. That the guy that supports Olympic sports probably is most of any caller we have, and you're kind of against it?
Well, it just seemed like if I want to see, I'm going to watch American compete. Why do I want to watch Croatia play Uganda in soccer? I want to see U.S. team. I want to see American team. I want to see American athletes participate. They've shown all that. But some of this other stuff, I don't care if North Korea and South Korea, after a ping pong match, kill each other with paddles. I don't care about watching them. They're not my country. You understand? I mean, I'm sorry. I'm seeing too much other country, and I'm like, we're supposed to be for Team USA. It just don't seem like, I don't know. It just, after Friday night, it just really perturbed me, and I can't
Well,
get
listen, I didn't, obviously, very disrespectful, highly disrespectful. And, we are a country, a Christian group. We take a lot, because if you think about doing that to another religion, there would have been, probably a different reaction. So
people don't remember what happened in 2013 in France when the cartoonist drove a terrible cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad. Their little magazine and newspaper got bombed, and several of the editors and the writers and artists was killed. I mean, like somebody made a running joke. They were being sarcastic. I said, well, yeah, that's what we was taught. As Christians, we were taught to turn the other cheek, but it seemed like nobody else does. And you know what? I don't want to be hypocritical, but my little cheeks are getting a little chapped. I'm kind of getting tired of it. And you know what? And they took up for the people over in Paris for doing the thing. Oh, don't worry. The 28 Olympics in Los Angeles is going to be just as worse. Los Angeles and California, I'm like, well, gee whiz. Y'all are just really killing the Olympics for me for the rest of my life. About how long that is. I mean, you used to look forward to Mark Spitz. You heard the great story about him and all the great athletes. Carl Lewis. I mean, in the '84 Olympics. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I'm happy for the gymnast team for winning Team Gold. I'm happy that somebody, both, what's her name, have come back after her problem with mental illness or how to think. I'm glad she overcome that. It's a great story, but it just seemed like, I mean, it's a shame that we don't have all the athletes, one or not, so that, what's his name, and he's a he, swimming in the Olympics, because he was a man 4 or 5 years ago, and he bumped off the girl from Kentucky.
Well, I mean, you just had 2 male boxers that boxed in a female boxing over the Olympics.
Oh, yeah, and they was fussing about the United States is not, as you say, diverse with the athlete. That's why the country is so effed up. I can't say the word, because we got people who run the office, don't know what to do. Oh, this person and
well,
this.
And we blame it on other states, but did you see it today where the judge ruled, in the state of Alabama? Alabama judge just ruled that Biden's Title IX rule requiring schools to permit men in girls' locker rooms, bathroom, sex ed class must go in effect.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous. We're checking boxes, and we're not solving problems. In sports or in politics, it's this division. They win on division. They stay in power. They don't give a rat's behind about the public. They love you for 6 months when they run for office, but no, it's division. Them Republicans are evil. Them Democrats, they can't argue over a brown paper bag. If it's brown or is it beige or is it tan?
Yeah.
I mean, it's freaking ridiculous. I'm kind of getting sick of it. It's pissing me off beyond belief.
Well, you know what they say, don't you?
No, tell me, I'm so out there.
They say it's better to be pissed off than pissed on.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I just didn't know if you knew that.
Well, yesterday you said I was sounding like I let it down, but it just, I mean, you got these guys talking and all this. Oh, it's a big guy, so-and-so. I'm like, I want to watch the competition. I want to see if the American Swim will win or the person in track and field win. I don't want to hear that so-and-so would discriminate again because he or she transgender. I'm like, I mean, they're going to lose sponsors. Nobody, I mean.
Hey, Tommy, before we let you go, can you run through your pronouns if you don't mind?
Yeah. No, because you get in
Wyatt,
trouble.
can you start putting it up there if you don't mind? Just when people call in, if they could identify their pronouns, where I could make sure. I want to make sure I keep that straight.
Okay, I got my pronoun. You want my pronoun?
No,
Are you ready?
not really. I didn't think.
I was going to say a self-centered ass, but go ahead.
Okay, well, I like that. I think that's a pretty good one right there.
Yeah, that's the best one I can come up with.
Yeah, I'll answer to any self-centered butt. Self-centered butt. All right, I gotta run, Tommy. I appreciate it. We're gonna go from one Tommy to another, so we'll go to Tommy Tuberville coming up here in just a couple of minutes. He's actually just finished up a meeting, so he'll be joining us on the other side. We'll continue with more of the game. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. The Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas, 205-752-0627, pharmacymidtown.com. Don't forget about the retail side of the Pharmacy at Midtown. It's an independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time packaging, which increases that independence. Compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility in Tuscaloosa is the Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas. The game is powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. David DeSantis, the largest selection of new Toyotas in over 3 years, can be found on Skyline Boulevard, 3325 Skyline Boulevard. Also a nice inventory of pre-owned inventory. You can find the new Tundra, the 2024, the Tacoma 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. How about a new 4Runner, Highlander, RAV4, Camry, Corolla? For those outside of Tuscaloosa, save.
Conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823. Custom curbing for your home or business. Do away with those plastic individual stone borders. Go for that more permanent, decorative concrete border. No more grass growing between those individual stones. Cleaner to edge to maintain. They're willing to travel, not just here in Tuscaloosa, but also in our neighboring states as well over in Mississippi. Many colors and choices. They'll customize for that individual taste and house. Give them a call at 205-331-6823. You could also go to their Facebook account. Find their page. You can see exactly what the videos. They came out, did a free quote. Paul gave me an evaluation. Give them a call, 205-331-6823. Free quotes and evaluation. It is Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823.
You're inside the game.
If you're looking for a new pair of jeans, Wrangler, Levi Lee, Justin, Tony Lama, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more. If you're looking for camo options, the work in Western wear for the entire family. You know, people in West Alabama work extremely hard. You've got to have the apparel that matches that hard work, whether it's the Rocky clothing, the Under Armour clothing, Carhartt clothing. It is the Wharf. You can find it right there between El Gran and also the Blue Plate. right there close to the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center on the right-hand side of the road. You'll find our good friends right there at the Wharf. Since 1976, the Working Western headquarters for the entire family. Waiting on Coach Tommy Tuberville to call in. We'll get with him coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Let's go. I feel like the minute we take a phone call that we're going to be dialed in, because he was running a couple of minutes late, and we'll get to him coming up in a couple of minutes, and we'll get into a couple of different things. But he has introduced a new bill, and I'd really be curious out there for some of those dads that have female athletes that compete. You almost feel like the Olympics. You almost feel like that this individual has worked their entire life to be able to get to this standpoint. And what happens? Well, you have a male pretending to be a female, goes out, and he wins it. So all of this hard work for 20-something years to be able to get to this level, not even 20, 15, 10, whatever it's been, 5, it doesn't really matter. I mean, the time, the consumption is kind of irrelevant. But, it's almost like it sounds like it's common sense, but it doesn't seem that way because it seems like they are lacking a lot of push up in Washington, D.C. So we'll talk about that coming up in a couple of minutes. Coach Tommy Tuberville and has done some good things for the University of Alabama, too. And you never know, he may enlighten you on some of that. I know a couple different things that I know that Alabama has benefited directly from, and I'll leave it at that. So we'll see. Him and Katie Britt both doing some good work for the University of Alabama and representing. I think he's been a good checkbox when you look at things that he's been able to do there, and I think you know where he stands. So let's continue with more phone calls, and we go to Bubba in Northport. Bubba, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Well, how's it going, my friend?
Man, I'm great. I hope you are as well.
I am. I'm sitting here looking at the Bass Pro Shop Hunt catalog. All these Vortex optics they got in here. They got some good ones.
Good. It's, Coach Tuberville, he's an outdoorsman as well. So,
I didn't know he hunted.
Oh, yeah, big duck hunter. Big duck hunter. Loves to hunt birds, too. Yeah.
Okay. Who won the binoculars yesterday?
That would be Biscuit Bruce. He was...
There you go.
We gave everybody a number who called in, and it was just based on the number like you called in. Right. And let me see. You were number 8. Biscuit Bruce was number 7. We put a number, automatic number generator. It generated the number, and Biscuit Bruce's number came up.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to win some of this score prediction
Well, Bubba, you're going to have to tighten up because you really just stunk it up last year. I mean, let's just call it the way it is. I mean, I don't know if you need to get tips from some of our elite guys. Paul and Lincoln had 3 balls in the bucket. Bama Nick, he's coming up after you. He had 2 balls in the bucket. Danny G and Foley had 2 balls in the bucket. So you need to kind of follow their lead.
The one we do on Friday, it seems like it's easier if you pick the over and under. That seems like your chances of winning are a lot better.
Okay. Well, I never looked at it from that standpoint. Maybe we'll get
you got Alabama who's going to be lighting it up, too, this year or so. I don't know. I like to play.
I think we are.
I may just be like Dawson. He would throw up a 60-0 and win.
Oh, Dawson! Listen, Dawson. We lost Dawson back in the spring. I think he had 2 balls in the bucket, and if he would have won, we would have got it to his family. And Dawson hit the grand prize. So.
He would do crazy scores and win.
Hey, Wyatt, he is calling here in 9910. That's it, Bubba. Let me put you back on hold, okay? We're going to go to the senator.
No, we're good. I'll call you tomorrow, my friend.
Thank you. All right, perfect. And we'll take phone calls immediately following the senator from the great state of Alabama. We will go up there. He's introduced a bill, and he just finished up a couple of meetings just a couple of minutes ago as we continue the countdown of college football. And I may ask Coach in just a couple of minutes, what's more chaotic, navigating Washington, D.C. or the NCAA? Coach Tommy Tuberville, the senator from the great state of Alabama. Hey, Coach, welcome back to T-Town. I hope you're having a great day.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I can answer your question. Both of them are a total disaster. Government, big government, and NIL. I don't know how in the world coaches deal with all this, but it is it's crazy when you got Ohio State spending like $30 million on their football team this year. How in the world do people compete with that? It's absolutely absurd.
Well, I want to ask you, because we don't get a chance to talk to a lot of coaches, especially since this bill was introduced last Friday with some of the House settlement. They're looking at a 105 scholarship. In other words, eliminating the possibility for walk-ons. I know at Alabama they have about 125, 130 on the roster. From a walk-on perspective, scout team, you got any reaction to that? Because they're going to cut the rosters down, the limits to 105. That was effective for next year.
Yeah, first of all, I don't know how legal that is, where you can cut out walk-ons. A young man or young woman wanting to walk on to be part of a program to learn and pay in their own way. I don't know how you can do that. But I'll tell you, I think at the end of my tenure, this was 6-7 years ago, we were at 120, and that was the Title IX number, and you really had to cut down. But you could only have, I think, 105 during two-a-days, and then you added 15 when school started. But I tell you what, it kills the dream of a lot of young men and women when you cut out walk-ons. I think they're so important to athletics. And when you put one of those young walk-ons on scholarship, I mean, the morale of the team is just unbelievable. So it's just another. This is all about money. This whole world's about money now. But give me this, give me that. You know, I don't want to work. I want to sit at home, watch TV, just send me a check. I've never seen anything like this, and we better get control of it. And if we lose college athletics and high school athletics, I'll tell you what, it'll be a sad day.
It seems like a common sense approach. You have introduced legislation to prohibit men from competing in women's Olympic sports. It's fresh on our mind because we saw a male boxer absolutely destroy a female boxer in the last 24 to 36 hours. It seems common sense. What are people not getting about this? Why are you having so much opposition?
Yeah, well, good point. There's no common sense up there when you deal with the left. If you, for instance, if you think a man can get pregnant and give birth to a baby, you got problems. You not only have mental problems, you got all kind of other problems. And it's crazy. And then I saw that boxing match. It didn't last long. The young lady never got off a punch, and she took about 15 or 20 before the referee called it off. And it's going to get worse as the week goes on. I hate it. I hate for young women that see all this, that I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to work all my life and not have an opportunity to have success and possibly win a Olympic gold medal. I think I'm on tomorrow with Riley Gaines on television on Fox, and her and I are going to talk about this. But why in the world would the left up here, the people that supposedly understand life and understand the law, be totally against women? I can't understand it. And they push the narrative that I'm against women, that I'm, it's just, you can't make this up of what's going on. The crazies are running the show right now, and we've got to get control of it.
So what do they say when they oppose your bill? They're not, you're not getting any help from it. What do they tell you?
Well, first of all, last year I've had two votes on the floor about men playing in women's sports. And both were voted down by the Democrats. And even one or two women on the Republican side. I didn't come close to getting, you have to have 60 votes. So I didn't get close to it. But I did. I asked one senator, she was a lady, I said, do you not have a daughter or granddaughters? What are you thinking? I mean, well, everybody needs an opportunity. No, they don't. No, they don't need an opportunity for unfair. It's unfair and it's unsafe. Now, I can understand if you won't have a transgender division, hey, I'm all for that. But for boys and men to play and compete against women when they're physically stronger and there's danger involved, I mean, they've lost their mind, and they're going to continue to have a fight on their hands. I don't care how the selection goes. People across this country are getting ready to fight back against the nonsense like this because there's no common sense. And again, it goes back to being unsafe and unfair, and it's just dead wrong.
Well, I mean, just in our state. I mean, we're not talking about L.A. or San Diego or California or New York City. We're talking about Alabama. An Alabama judge just ruled in the last couple of hours that a Biden's Title IX bill requiring schools to permit men and girls locker rooms, bathrooms, sex ed education's classes will go in effect. It must go in effect. I mean, what can parents do?
Well, this federal judge lost their damn mind. And first of all, the Biden administration is pushing this. It doesn't go through Congress. And you saw that Supreme Court ruling a few weeks ago where it says, hey, it's called the Chevron rule that you can't change laws behind the scenes. It has to go through Congress. Well, this administration, all they've done is forgiven loans, billions of dollars worth of student loans. They just changed the rules of abortion paid for by taxpayers. In the military, they're going after young women, saying, hey, women don't have the rights. Transgenders have more rights than young girls and women. I mean, they have lost their freaking mind. And there's no common sense with this. There's a difference between right and wrong. And that's what's happened in this country. We've got people that don't understand right or wrong. I don't know what this judge is looking at, but she's going to catch heck from a lot of people.
You're out on the campaign trail with, President Trump. What have you seen that makes you feel confident as we're now under the 100-day mark away from the election, that you've seen out in the American real world that we can flip this thing?
Well, first of all, it's 98 days. And the more and more that Kamala Harris, whatever it is, she goes out and opens her mouth, I mean, she runs more voters off. She has no chance. She has no business being a vice president, much less running for president. Now, this has nothing to do with race or being a woman or whatever. This has to do with leadership qualities, having the ability to run a country, understand foreign relations, understand domestic problems, understand the things that are going on all over the world. I don't know where she's been. All she's been doing is running around saying that the border's closed when she's in charge of it. And she's only been down there one time. And we've averaged 5,000 a day. I mean, it just makes you sick at your stomach. But President Trump's doing good. He's just going to go out and push the game plan of, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. The Democrats can't push anything because they haven't done anything right. Not one thing. The economy, the crime, the border, foreign relations, education, it's all gone wrong. It is all gone wrong, and it's not what the American people need, and it's not what they deserve, and they're fixing to get their ears beat back when it comes to this election coming up. We can't take it for granted, but we got to go out and vote. We got to make sure people only vote once, and we got to make sure it's fair at the polls, because in 2020, I've seen the evidence. It wasn't even close to being fair. Joe Biden, there's no way he won that election over President Trump. But this time, people are going to be watching. We spent a lot of money at the polls, and it's going to be a fair election.
If this guy is not fit to be president and run for it again, how are you in the checks and balances of running our country for the next 5 or 6 months?
Well, that worries you to death, but you got to remember this. Joe Biden nor Kamala Harris has been running the country. It's been run by the deep state behind the scenes. The Obamas, the Pelosi, the Schumers, everybody's been able to throw in their 2 cents worth. And that's what's amazing to me. And Joe Biden had a staff meeting with his cabinet. Now, don't you think about this? It'd be like Nick Saban or me, when I was coaching, that you didn't meet with your staff for 8 or 9 months. How in the world do you get anything done? I mean, these people are running the country by the seat of their pants, and they're running it for their benefit and not for the American taxpayers. And if you're out there paying taxes and working today, and you vote for Kamala Harris or any of these people that's on the Democratic side, it is going to get worse and worse for you. It's not going to get better.
You have a chance to work daily with J.D. Vance. Give me some behind the scenes, working with him as a colleague there in the United States Senator, what we expect from the vice president or running as a vice president.
Yeah, I got to know J.D. well. I worked side by side with him for a year and a half. He's not a politician. Thank God.
Amen.
He did serve. He served in the military. He believes in this country. He believes in President Trump. I like it because he didn't like President Trump at the beginning, but he learned to like him because he learned and understood his policies and what he was trying to do. You just don't come up here and not understand the difference between what's going on. I mean, J.D. didn't take him long. He was my pick. If he was going to pick a senator, I talked to President Trump the day that he chose J.D. Vance. He was my pick 100%. You know, if he's going to take a senator, I like some that weren't senators. But the one thing I get, again, about J.D. Vance, he's not a politician. He's only been up here a year and a half. He's not sold out to the lobbyists. He's not sold out to the deep state. He believes in this country. He wants what's best for his family and the families across this country. And he's going to make a great vice president and hopefully maybe a future president.
How confident are you down the ticket, not just from President Trump, but that you can swing some of the power back on the right in not just the Senate, but remain it in the House?
Yeah, well, I think we're going to do very well in the Senate. I think we got a chance to get as many as 53, maybe 54. Now, things are going to have to flow our way, but as long as we can get to 52, and I think that's very doable, that we've got control of the Senate to where, say President Trump wins and we lose the Senate, they'll impeach him in 6 months. I mean, these people up here, they hate Donald Trump. They've got the Trump syndrome. Why do they hate him? Because he's not a politician. He's going to run it the right way. He's not going to run it the politician way. And so I think we're going to win the Senate. I think we've got a great chance to win the House. Now, a lot is going to depend on the next few months about, you know, the direction that people start pushing a vice president for the Democrats and the supposedly game plan they're going to have. But again, they have nothing to brag about because they have almost destroyed the best country ever on the face of this earth in a short period of time. We cannot allow them to continue to have open borders, crime, not pump oil and gas, and create wars. These people love wars. They want to send our young men and women over to fight and get killed instead of playing sports. We're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to take this back. We're going to get control of our country.
Appreciate the hard work in Washington, D.C. I know those can be very frustrating times, but we're depending on you to fight the fight that the great state of Alabama sent you to Washington, D.C. to do. Thanks for spending a couple of minutes with us.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. That is Tommy Tuberville helping us out there. We'll continue with more of the game. We'll go to Bama Nick in Americus, Georgia, coming up in a couple of minutes. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home.
You could be feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Northport Power Equipment, largest inventory Husqvarna dealer in the Southeast. You'll find the Husqvarna models for residential and the professional landscapers, Skag commercial mowers, residential mowers, backpack blowers, handheld blowers, battery operated tools. The service department at Northport Power.
Your engagement, anniversary, or birthday. Come experience the difference of shopping local. Visit Hudson Pool Fine Jewelers, downtown Tuscaloosa, or at hudsonpool.com.
El Grant is the great Mexican place in Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Go over and see my friends Carlos, 205-391-4555, 62 McFarland Boulevard, Monday through Thursday, 11 until 9:30, Friday and Saturday, 11 until 10:30, Sunday also open 11 until 9. You'll find the great daily lunch specials. You'll find great entrees, including the great fajitas, great desserts. The kids menu, always welcome. The call ahead orders as well. El Gran on McFarland Boulevard. You'll find it at Winn-Dixie Shopping Center.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's hot and humid this afternoon. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. High topping out to 95 degrees. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies, low near 75. And tomorrow, another hot day with mostly sunny skies and a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
Never.
It's time for a good time. Cash my check, clean my truck, put on my hat, forgot about work. Sun going down, head across town.
Nuke's Eatery, 205 University Boulevard. You can always do the half sandwich combo deal. Those are some great options, whether you're talking about parlaying that. If you talk about the 2 pizza family meal deal, those are great options. Choose 2 pizzas, 1 salad, choice of pepperoni sausage, pepperoni margarita, barbecue chicken, Nuke's Q pizza, the Caesar the Garden, and you can order those, combo those. French dip sandwich, one of the great sandwiches that I think is on the menu. The Nuke's Q sandwich will always be probably the number 1, but I think the French dip is one of those great sandwiches. Salads, California style pizzas, the daily soup specials, the 12-layer cakes. It is 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. Joel Bromfield cooking up some great items at Nuke's Eatery, catering from a small party to a large corporate event, whether you're talking about 5 to 500, it's our good friends at Nuke's Eatery. We're taking your phone calls right here, and we are up against this 4 o'clock hour break. We'll reset some things 2 hours in. Been a little bit of an unusual start to the show, right? I was late here today, and I wasn't like I was playing hooky. I wasn't like I was sitting over at the Southern Ale House knocking down a good cheeseburger. Had a little meeting inside the football building, and we are here, and obviously Alabama football practice tomorrow. We're doing our predictions. If you want to jump in, we'd love to have you. 205-342-9904. Last Friday, we gave out our grand prize package, and this year we're going to roll this out. This is the first time that you can get qualified. I say the first time. It's the first contest that we've had. We're throwing out Jalen Milroe passing numbers. When you look at 28-34, when you look at this upcoming season, just passing, not rushing, not combined, not all-purpose, simply passing yards alone. He had 28-34 last year with about 23 touchdowns. What was it, 6 interceptions? Maybe it was a little bit more, 6 interceptions? 6? Okay. I'm going strictly off memory. I'm not looking straight at the stats. But 28-34 was the number. And we're asking today, where do you think you'll be in 2024 under Kalen DeBoer? What's that worth? What's it worth? When you look at these wide receivers, you feel like that's going to be a little bit more of a unit, but I think it's all about balance. But you've also got to account for there's now more playoff games. There's more opportunities to, pile up. If you think Alabama's going to be one of those 4 top teams and they're not going to play in that first round of the college football playoffs, then you got to kind of calculate that in your head. So we'll take Bama Nick coming up on the other side. Number 1 caller to this program. He's next. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Muscle to 511-511. Text muscle to 511-511 today. All individuals are unique. Your results can and will vary. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Text fees may apply.
MedCenterUrgentCare.com. We expect the unexpected. Locations in Tuscaloosa, Northport, North River, right there off Rice Mine Road, Fayette, Demopolis, Hoover. The great doctors, urgent care, family medicine, injuries, occupational health, sports physicals. We do expect the unexpected. MedCenter Urgent Care.
Deal or text DEAL to 511-511.
Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
The United States women's gymnastics team has grabbed gold again at the Olympics. Their 3rd gold in 4 years, winning today in Paris. Italy took home the silver while Brazil won bronze. For Simone Biles, it's her 5th gold in her career, 8th overall medal for her career. Elsewhere in Paris, men's basketball, France topped Japan today in overtime 94-90, while Canada was a victor against Australia 93-83. Spain took out Greece 84-77. The U.S. women's rugby team grabbed bronze today in rugby sevens, their first ever medal in the event, as the U.S. topped Australia as they scored the game-winning try as time expired. Baseball's trade deadline's at 6 o'clock Eastern time. Guardians got pitcher Alex Cobb from the Giants. Cleveland today beat the Tigers by a score of 5-0. Padres are getting closer Tanner Scott from the Marlins. Marlins also dealt slugger Josh Bell to the Diamondbacks.
I got spirit, I got faith. I might bend, but I won't break. I'll fight the elements. And I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging. If I go down. This ain't a home. Not even close.
We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. TuscaloosaToyota.com. 3325 Skyline Boulevard. And online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. This time tomorrow, we'll have plenty of Kalen DeBoer audio because he will talk following practice, that first practice. And this one will be one of those that we'll have a lot of content. Alabama football players on Thursday. We're going to have you all covered. Remember to connect with us. There's a lot of different ways. Tide109.com. I know Wyatt Fulton and his team is going to be having a lot of digital content on this show. We'll have a lot of audio that we'll have chopped up, and we'll try to make a lot of the conversations out of it. We are 2 hours in, 2 hours to go. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. TuscaloosaToyota.com. We had Mike Tatilia a couple of hours ago. And then we had Tommy Tuberville just a couple of minutes ago from Washington, D.C. And, I'm on a call. I'm not saying every week, but it's an off-record talk with Tommy Tuberville. It is it's a call that I participate in often. There's one thing. Listen, that guy may have wore the other colors, but the most important color he is wearing is red and the elephant logo. I'll leave it.
Now,
Wyatt, I want Bama Nick. Bama Nick, Wyatt's a big country state of mind, okay? He plays a lot of country music.
He's good.
Okay, so you approve of Wyatt's country music?
Oh, yeah. Wyatt's got good country music taste, as long as it's the old country now. I've told you this. I've talked to you about this.
He likes a lot of these new cats too, man.
No, I don't approve of that new country. I'm old country, fella. Old country.
Old country.
Yeah.
Like really old. Super old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 60s, 70s. Of course, that's for y'all's time, so y'all just a bunch of puppies anyway, but let me ask you this, Fowler.
Okay.
Before we get into other business I got to talk about today. Woo! This is the first thing out to the callers that call your show. And I want them all to remember this. You may not love me, Bama Dick. You may not hate me, or you might hate me, but you got to respect me. One of the ways it goes, Fowler, like the Ric Flair said. You don't have to like me. You don't have to love me, but you got to respect me.
That's right. That's right.
Ric Flair, the man, the king of the wrestling world.
You sound a little.
Now, here we go, Fowler. Where were you at? Where you been? Where were you at 3 o'clock hour today? Where were you at?
I was here. I was just busy.
No, you wasn't. What? I asked, what's going on? Well, I don't know. He told me, well, he's in a meeting. I said, well, who's he firing today? Who'd you fire today,
well, I was not in a meeting here. I was a meeting in somewhere else.
Well, where was that at? Give the audience. Where was you at?
I can't.
Let the audience know, Fowler. Let the people know.
I can't say because I was.
You sound like Camel Toe Harris and Meatloaf Joe when you won't let nobody know where you at.
Well, I was super busy, highly productive meetings, but and I learned a lot, but I can't say where I was at.
Wow, Fowler, come on now, talk to me. You talk to Bama Nick.
Well, I mean, I can't.
Of course, you talk to me, you're going to be talking about 10,000.
I know, but it's just. Let me say this: we were going through some practice protocols just to make sure that we were all, because we're learning a new coach, right? We're learning a new coach. We were just going through some, to make sure that we were all on the same page, and we're finding out how Coach DeBoer wants things and how.
Let's cut to the chase. You was in a meet with Kalen DeBoer and his coaches over there in Tuscaloosa.
I can't say that.
Why can't you? Come on, Fowler.
I can't. I mean, you're trying to squeeze me, and I can't say it. I mean, because I was invited, and I want to be invited the next time they have one of those. So,
okay.
Yeah,
well, that's fine, Fowler.
You know
it's
what
like
I mean?
When you tell me stuff I don't put out on the air.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm in a meeting with you.
I'm sure that you'll probably buzz me later on this evening, and
I'm sure. Oh, you better count on that, Fowler. I'll call you when you leave the show and be talking to you.
Yeah, I mean, I got some good juicy stuff. I just, I had to, we gotta kind of sit on it a little bit. We gotta let it marinate a little bit. Kind of let
it marinate, Fowler. And then we'll talk about it later.
And one of the most important things is I found out that they're going to be wearing crimson jerseys this year. So that's
they're
going to play with a pigskin. It kind of looks like a football, and it's.
Well, I'm glad they ain't going to be wearing pink jerseys this year, pal.
You never know. In our society, it could be happening very soon. I mean,
yeah, it could be pink with rainbow colors on the shoulder pads. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, pal. Way this world's going. We better hope Donald Trump gets back in the White House or this country's over with. And that's another thing I sent you a message. I got my Trump hat today.
Yeah, I got mine. I got mine a couple of days ago. I got mine. It's got Trump and then J.D. Vance on there. I got me a Trump Vance hat. So
well, mine it's a camouflage that says Trump 2024 Take America Back. That's what mine says, and I'm wearing it proudly as we speak.
Yeah.
So Democracy Dan, Danny G.
So okay, let's go back.
AKA Danny from Foley, Bama Nick loves Trump. I love Trump since 2016, and I'll be promoting. I'll be wearing my Donald Trump.
Well, but your vote over there counts more than our vote over here, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, probably so. Yeah.
So
yeah, I know what you mean. Fella. And that Camel Toe Harris, I saw when she's up there in Atlanta now. She's over there campaigning in Atlanta.
I saw a video. Lord have mercy. Why are you guys? I mean, guys, football starts tomorrow. Y'all gonna have to quit dragging me into these political side of things, okay? But y'all do it on purpose. I know. I saw her explaining inflation yesterday. In a video that she was explaining inflation. And one of the things
laugh.
Well, she did laugh, but sitting there listening to her saying, I wish I could play it, but it is a funny video. It is absolutely pure comedy. It would be great if it was in, the Comedy Hall up in Birmingham, or the Comedy Barn up in Pigeon Forge.
Comedy Club.
Yeah. But she's sitting there going, ma'am, I just paid $4.69 for a gallon of unsweet tea. Paid $9.09. Yes, $4.06. Go to the grocery store. Do you do the shopping, Wyatt? Wyatt looked at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah, I know
$4.69. Okay, I bought 11 items the other day at Publix.
Paying $6-7 for a damn stick of butter.
Well, I mean, it's everything. I mean, everything. I really, thankfully, I'm in a spot that. That my wife and I have jobs right now, but we may not have jobs next week. Who knows? But
well, man, we're on fixed income. I mean, we're on Social Security, pal. We're not rich like you and your wife. We don't make a lot of money.
No. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, but when you look at fixed income, how are these people making it? Like I went and I got 11 items. Okay. At Publix just a couple of days ago, Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I heard that yesterday. You said
now nothing expensive. $86 for 11 items. 11 items.
Well, I know what you mean, fella. I mean, you shop at Publix, which is one of the most expensive places to shop. I go to Food Line here in America.
We don't have one of those.
Well, but hell, it's still expensive at Food Line. It's not the same price-wise. And half the time they don't have what you want. You go in there, you can't buy no meats because they don't have nothing. I don't know. But I didn't want to talk about that crap, fella. What I want to talk about is yesterday when I was listening to your show. Now, come on now, let's talk. I didn't call. I tuned in yesterday, and I was going to call. But then I sit there and listen. You talk for an hour about deer hunting and rifle scopes. Now, fella, we got to talk about this.
What do you mean?
I told you last year when you started getting on this deer hunting and scopes. Who was it you was talking? Martin Houston or something about deer hunting? Hell, it ain't deer hunting season. It ain't no hunting season, fella. It's football season. You need to be talking about the football players.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, there you go. And one of your callers yesterday, Bubba said yesterday, Bama Nick going to be calling you out on, and Bubba's right. I am calling you out on this. I don't want to hear about no damn deer hunting and scoping and rifles.
Okay, so line up.
Fowler.
Okay, so you want me to talk football?
Yeah, that's what your show's about, ain't it?
Well,
I mean, don't you have a sports call-in talk show about football?
Nate Oates has made us talk basketball, Final Four. And
This ain't basketball season, Fowler. This is football season. When it comes to basketball season, we'll get Nate involved in the conversation.
Okay.
Don't you understand, Fowler? Don't your listeners understand? This is football season. Start talking football, Fowler.
Well, we gave away you always say give away things. We did.
I give away everything I win at your show on Conda. I always give it to whoever you decide to give it to.
Now, if you would have won the grand prize package, would you have given that away?
Oh, hell yeah, fella. I wasn't going to come up to Tuscaloosa. I would have gave it to
see, we should have had
whoever you suggested.
We should have had a partnership before I drew on Friday, and I could have drew Alabama Nick, and then we could have made some trading.
Well, if you'd have drawn my name,
well,
I'm glad Paul. I'm happy Paul from Lincoln won it. He had the most wins last year. It didn't bother me, Paul, but I ain't called for a recount.
Oh, you're not? Well, good. we wanted,
but I would have gave it away. I mean, if I'd have won that grill and everything else, I'd have gave it away. Hell, I'd have told you to take it down and give it to somebody that needed it more than me.
Well,
whether it be on the street or whatever.
I mean, you're such a nice guy, Bama Nick.
Yeah, anything I win in this coming year with the parlay picks or whatever we're going to do, I always give it away.
Well, can we give?
I don't.
Can we?
I do that when I do this. I do it for fun. Right. I don't do it to win.
Because you are responsible for this guy. If you won, could we give some of those winnings to AC?
Hell no. AC don't need them. According to him, he's got money. He's over in Bangladesh. He don't need nothing.
Okay.
How's he going to come and get them?
Oh, we'd ship it to him.
Oh, yeah, right. You wasn't going to ship nothing to me, so you got to come get it.
Well, I mean, if you'd been nice, I would have probably shipped it to you.
Come on, Fowler. All right, now let's get back to something else that's very important.
Okay, what's important?
This deer hunting thing and scope. Fowler, if you're going to do another thing like that about hunting, go tell all your deer hunting buddies, go back and look at the Wild Kingdom with Marlon Perkins. I mean, that's all you got to tell them.
What are you? You're crazy.
Don't get back on deer hunting. I can give you another 5 shows they go watch and learn how to hunt a deer.
Yeah, let me also say this. Now, we will be doing. We've got a squirrel hunting expert coming on tomorrow, and then that'll be our final hunting episode for the month of July.
Squirrel hunting? Hell, all you got to know how to do to hunt squirrels, go sit out in the backyard. They're all over the backyard. How many can you kill in your backyard just sitting on your patio?
I mean, a few, but...
there you go.
And then
now, don't get me wrong. I love squirrel meat.
And next Monday, we're going to talk about rabbit hunting.
I don't care about rabbits, Fowler.
Okay. Well, and then we'll cover dove hunting, I think, later in August. We'll get that.
Now, dove hunting, I used to love to hunt doves, and I did that for years.
So you have actually been hunting?
Oh, yeah. I used to hunt doves all the time. I used to love dove hunt on dove shoots.
Okay.
But I got too old, Fowler. I got too old. I'm 70 years old. I can't go sit on a hot-ass dove field. Me and Cat used to go dove hunting. We'd have our cooler there with my beer in it. We'd sit there behind a hay bale.
That's safe. That's safe. Cooler full of beer and a shotgun. Man, that is...
That's right.
Man.
And when I'd knock them down, she'd go get them. And I told her, well, if you get them and they're still feathering, just pull the heads off.
Well, I've sat on many dove fields as well, and I enjoy dove hunting.
I do too. I'm
not very good at it though. It takes it's a special skill. It's
That's right.
I mean,
when you got a 12 gauge pump or Winchester,
Danny G sent me a message yesterday, and he said he wanted to know if hunting is a sport. What do you think? Is hunting a sport, Bamanek?
Oh yes, sir. Hunting is a sport.
Okay.
I mean, to be a good hunter, with, like you said, shooting doves or deer rabbits or anything.
You got to be quiet, which is one of my hardest
sport.
issues. I have a hard time with being quiet. I like to talk.
Well, then you're in the right position when you go sit in your little deer stand up, Barry, because you're quiet.
Yeah.
But at least when you're dove hunting and you got a big bay hill out there, you sit behind and over a field, you can sit there and talk to your wife, whoever's with you.
Yeah.
And watch them come in, you jump up and shoot them. And say, Captain, go get that one.
Well, now, Bama Nick, but being the number one caller, I want to ask you one quick question, then we're going to let you go.
What? Oh, you ain't got to let me go, Fowler. You told me to make sure I talk for about 30 minutes.
Well, we go.
Because I want my time, Fowler. I want my time. I've been cutting off. I've been getting cut off lately.
What do you think about Tony out here campaigning for Kamala?
I didn't know Tony was campaigning for Kamato.
Yeah, he is. George Soros has went out and hired people to stand behind her and look like, they're supporting her. Do you feel any different about Tony?
No, Tony needs to message me, call me, and I'll give him my advice on things.
But what would you say to him? I mean, he's not listening, but what would you say to him?
I'd say, "Are you a complete idiot?" I mean, what else can you say to these people?
Okay, so like if George,
if
George came to you and said, "Bama Nick, we're trying to get a diverse population behind Kamala," what would?
Oh, Jesus Christ, Father. Don't start me to cussing on the air, Father.
What would you charge?
To get me
what would the going rate for you to be standing behind her to look like you're on her team? What would the price be?
You're talking about if I could be bought.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
If I could be bought.
Right. Your price.
They don't have enough money to pay me to give up my man Donald Trump. I'm not throwing him under the wagon for no money.
So $25.
I don't need the money.
$25 an hour, you wouldn't do it. No,
I wouldn't do it. Are you crazy, fella? I can sit there and talk to you for 30 minutes, and you don't pay me nothing.
Okay. Well.
And I sit there and talk about Trump and my buddy Trump. And Coach Tuberville, which I saw his speech today, that's why he was late calling you. He was on the Newsmax. I was listening to him talking to Newsmax right before he called you.
Who was? Tommy Tuberville?
Coach Tuberville.
He was on Newsmax? Okay, well.
Yeah, that's what I watch. I watch Newsmax, and Coach Tuberville was talking. They were interviewing him on Newsmax.
I used to subscribe to the magazine Newsmax.
That's why he was delayed calling you.
I got you. I used to subscribe to Newsmax as a
well, you
magazine.
need to go back to it, fella. They tell the truth.
I watch Fox.
Jesus Christ, fella.
Well, and then when I don't watch Fox, I watch CNN.
Oh Lord, have mercy, fella. Ooh, don't be saying that, because you're going to lose a lot of callers if you start promoting CNN.
Well,
I'll tell you that right now.
I got to be fair and balanced, man.
If you start talking, Fowler, don't get me to cussing. You're trying to get me wired up, and I done poured about 6 or 8.
So what do you think about? What do you think about CNN?
You don't listen to me, Fowler.
Do you ever watch CNN? I mean, they're.
Hell no, fella. Why would I want to watch a liberal communist damn news channel?
Okay, but you need me to watch
Newsmax.
Newsmax.
Oh, you need to go to Newsmax.
But the only problem with watching Newsmax, it looks like it's filmed on my iPhone or something. I mean, the graphics are it's not very.
What do you mean? I'm sitting there watching on my damn 35, 40 TV.
But I'm talking about the video, the quality of video. It looks like a
normal TV show to me.
Last time I watched it, it looked like something was made
out
of
you're watching on your little cell phone probably or something. I don't know what you watch on phone. You need to go home to your wife and say, "Look, darling, we need to watch Newsmax."
Okay.
And we'll get the latest news on everything. And that's mine. But did you see where? I'm sure you ain't seen that. Nah, bull crap, fella. Listen to me. Don't make me say the other thing. You say what? Israel went and bombed Beirut today to try to take out that idiot that we've had a $5 million bounty on for years, since 1981.
I've been in meetings all day, so I did not see
Well,
that.
they missed him, but they got some other Iranian idiots. And that's good.
Knock him out.
They'll get him.
All right, I got to run, man. I got to run. I appreciate you as always.
Well, I just want to give him the top 5.
If you talk another 10 seconds, we'll be in Tony time.
I ain't worried about Tony. Hell, he's took my time up for years. Let me tell you, my top 5 callers on the list right now.
Oh, yeah. Is Danny G back in there, Democracy Dan?
Danny G is definitely back in there.
But now listen, if he doesn't call once every 3 weeks, I can't put him in the top 10.
Well, when he said yesterday when I listened to his call, he's got to be in there. He's top 3 right now.
All right, Benedict.
He done bumped Larry from Osceola down to number 4.
Where is Larry? I mean, Larry is... I
don't know. He'll send me a message every now and then, all the time. Call I said,
Fowler.
Larry,
call
Fowler. Call the game. I need some help.
Yeah.
And
we got to get Rich back in as well. Rich from Atlanta. But
Rich, he's a great call, but he don't call once a year.
Once a year. Yeah, and that's okay, Benedict. I got to run. Seriously, though, I'm really out of time. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too, Fowler. You take care. Roll Tide, buddy.
Roll Tide. We'll continue with more of the phone calls. We'll get those next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A heat advisory remains in effect for all of West Alabama until 9 o'clock tonight. Temperatures in the upper 90s and high humidity levels will produce a heat index upwards of 108 degrees. Controversy over an alleged racial slur used by a white co-owner of the iconic Nick's Original Filet House in West Tuscaloosa continues. The NAACP has called for a boycott of the landmark restaurant and asked for an apology. With classes resuming next week, school and health officials are advising parents to get their students back on a school sleep schedule now.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Got a little situation on McFarland Boulevard, westbound at 37th Street. This is actually a pretty major bang up here. We got the 2 left lanes blocked and traffic is bumper to bumper. And construction work on Skyland between Clearview Hills Drive and Pleasant Hill Drive. Now that's
message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
With only 43 seconds remaining, facing a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line at Jordan-Hare Stadium, quarterback Jalen Milroe finds himself under immense pressure, scrambling to connect with Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone for a miraculous come-from-behind victory over Auburn. The jaw-dropping 27-24 result came on the 10th anniversary of the Kick Six. Daniel Moore is proud to announce 4th and 31, his upcoming oil painting featuring the now famous Gravedigger play. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for limited edition fine art prints and canvases of 4th and 31. See the preliminary pencil sketch for the artist's full color painting at DanielMooreArt.com. Pre-order your artwork now by calling 1-800-735-2787 or by visiting DanielMooreArt.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's hot and humid this afternoon. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Highs topping out near 95 degrees. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies. Low near 75. And tomorrow, another hot day with mostly sunny skies and a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
Light up those phone lines on the game with Ryan Fowler. 205-342-9904.
On the ground and a little bit of chicken fried. Go
cold beer on Friday night.
All right, it is the Pharmacy at Midtown. The Pharmacy at Midtown. T.J. Thomas. He's the Nick Saban of pharmacists. He can be the Kalen DeBoer of pharmacists, but Kalen's got to put a national title between him and this year number 1. Alabama now practice hours away, but the Pharmacy at Midtown, always great there to serve you. 205-752-0627. The Pharmacy at Midtown. It is, if you want to put it in your GPS, 1800 McFarland Boulevard, Suite 334, Tuscaloosa. It is in the back of Midtown. You got the chicken salad chick. You got the playground. Independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time, packaging, the compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility is the Pharmacy at Midtown. The Pharmacy at Midtown with T.J. Thomas. We are now 16 hours, 29 minutes, and 3 seconds away from Alabama's start of spring. I've said it 3 times today. Fall practice. Fall practice. I don't know why I've got spring practice in my mind. Let's continue with phone calls, and we go to Denon. Denon, how are you, my friend? Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Hey, I'm doing good. I hope everything's well.
Do you miss being out there?
Yeah, I do. I miss the people that, we work with and around. It was always fun to talk to a lot of the guys out there, but it was kind of good being, I guess you could say, behind the fences or, behind the line there and the press conferences and everything, trying to send you messages. Hey, you pretty much knew back in the day, didn't even worry about it until Cecil got there. And I'd say, hey, Ryan, Cecil's here. So it's within 5 minutes that
is a
start.
Great point. Yeah, great point. And the way you sat, you would always see Cecil coming in. And you and I, Denon and I sat on the front row. And, we could probably write a book on those Nick Saban press conferences.
Yeah, and a lot of the conversation and stuff, before it ever happened, you'd learn a whole lot if you just be quiet and listen. Between, Cecil and Kirk and just everybody, you start listening. I would just sit there and listen, but I couldn't input a whole lot of nothing.
Well, and Denon used to help me out a ton because I'd text him like, hey, we're getting close. We're getting close. What are you seeing? What are you seeing? And Denon would always text me. I kid you not. He'd text me water bottle, water bottle, water bottle.
Water bottle's here.
Water bottle's here. Water bottle's here. That was, and I think Kalen's going to be a guy that's going to carry his own water. So we're going to have to come up with a new way of, signaling that he's getting close. So,
oh yeah. Yeah. It's, you never know what it's going to be like. Miss those days. Like I said, I miss the trips, and I used to live my whole vacation. Before COVID and all that was always, hey, my vacation days where I need this day off to go to Dallas, I need this day off to go to Atlanta. But hey, it's all good though, man. It's a blessing, man. I moved to Tuscaloosa to work for Mercedes-Benz, and I got to be on the sidelines at Bama. So God works in mysterious ways.
Yeah. Well, and Denon, they're always looking for a good photographer.
Yeah. Give me about 2 more years. When I hit 55, I got the opportunity to walk away from Mercedes and go find somewhere else to work, but still. But yeah, I got, 55, we'll find out in about 2 years what God's got planned. Then we'll see what kind of doors open for me. But no, I was going to kind of call you back and kind of pull us back in away from the political stuff because you like myself, we totally agree on a lot of stuff. And I guess I can say this much about it: if we don't start praying a whole lot, it don't matter who's in there. We got to figure it out. God's got a plan, and He'll put in there who needs to be in there for us to learn what we got to learn from it. So I hope He looks toward the good side, if you know what I'm saying. But I've heard a few times, especially with Milroe and all this stuff like that, about being benched. Do you think, if everybody would listen to what Saban said, the benching wasn't really about Jalen's performance. I think it was on the field performance. I think it was in his sideline, to get him to be the leader. And I still tell people, I think the whole thing was Saban was watching more of, hey, what's Jalen doing on the sideline? Is he over there with his lip poked out, mad, or is he being a leader still? And he was a leader. He was involved in that game. He got benched in, and Saban says, Jalen learned what I wanted him to learn. And my question to you is Jalen Milroe the same quarterback if he was never benched?
That's a great question, and one I haven't spent a ton of time thinking about.
Because he was a leader on the field, but I think Saban wanted him to be the leader, the all-around leader. And in some of the press conferences, even after that, Saban would always say, I think it was more, honestly, I think it was a message to the fans also. Let's get behind Jalen. Jalen's our leader now. he always threw the word leadership. It wasn't about performance. Jalen Milroe is one heck of an athlete, one heck of a quarterback. I think he got his attention. I need you to be the leader on that sideline to the guys. Step up. And I think from that point forward, it seemed like Jalen was the leader. Because, I mean, I've also wondered, I asked guys at work, I said, hey, do you really think Jalen will be the same quarterback at the end of the year if he had never gotten benched? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I think he stepped up as a leader a lot more after that. Because I think, you know how Saban is. Saban he would play those press conferences to a point. He would say something just to fish a question out of somebody to send a message to the team, not nobody else, just to send a message to the team. He would, and I know maybe some people had questions that they knew how to ask, but I think a lot of it had a lot to do with Jalen's leadership. And I think Saban got out of him what he wanted to. Now, this year, I think from a leadership standpoint, we'll be okay with Jalen, but I think from a learning standpoint, I think he's going to learn, I ain't going to say he's going to throw for 4,000 yards, but I think he could get close, because of what he's going to be learning. He's going to finally get coached the way he should have been coached the whole time. And I think that's a dangerous thing for the nation because Jalen Milroe could be a better quarterback than he was last year, off just the coaching standpoint.
Well, and I look at Jalen Milroe, and you do look back at that particular moment. I'm sure it was probably one of those moments, it probably hurts a lot of your pride, your ego, because the quarterback position, you've got to demand respect from all the other guys. You've got to get everybody to believe, not just the offense, but the defense as well, to look at you and go, we believe in what you're selling, and we're going to get behind you. You often think about Bryce Young walking in a group of 30-year-old veterans that are saying, you know what, we want you to be our guy. We want you to be our guy. We want you to be our guy.
Well, if you look back a couple of years, I think it might have been Barnett came in with all the accolades that a quarterback could come in with. Saban put him on the bench. It didn't start him, and he sat over there with his finger in his mouth, sucking his thumb, mad, and his family got involved. Not to say that Jalen Milroe's family would have got involved, but I think Saban seen the type of leadership at that time. Blake Barnett ended up being he's accomplished great things after he's left football. But I think if he'd have learned what Saban was kind of wanting him to learn, how to be a leader, because remember, Blake still over on the bench, wasn't saying nothing to nobody. And I kind of put the two together. Milroe never sat down. He may have put his helmet down, but he was a leader. He was a vocal leader as the quarterbacks came off the sideline. But, after that, Blake Barnett just disappeared after that point.
Well, and now I think when you look at this quarterback room, it's probably one of the most talented quarterback rooms as far as not just one, not just two, but 3, 4, 5. It's pretty deep. I mean, this quarterback rooms, and so they believe it. They got a roll.
Ryan Fowler, if you'd have got on there at the end of spring, as soon as that spring game was over and said, hey, we're going to go into this season, still have the entire quarterback room intact, I would have probably called Bryce and say, hey, y'all still accepting $50 for folks, for donations of people because I would have said you lost your mind. I was thinking somebody was leaving, but they never did. And that to me tells you a lot about this coaching staff as far as, hey, stay here, learn, And it could be from a quarterback room standpoint of what are they telling these guys? So, like I said, I never would have thought we'd have rolled into this season with that quarterback room intact, but we have for the most part. And we added to that room, especially after we added to the quarterback room. I thought somebody would be gone, but they didn't, So I think that tells you a lot about these staff, and let's just see how it rolls. But I'm looking forward to seeing how from a play standpoint, how Jalen gets better. And I think that's going to have a lot to do with the offensive line, but that's another story for another day. But, hey, I'm just looking forward to it, man, enjoying your shows. I don't hunt, don't do a lot of hunting. I enjoyed that guy. He seemed like he knew exactly what he's talking about. So, hey, that's always fun.
Yeah, it's always having a little diversity, bringing in a little variety of the conversation. So, I enjoyed it, and those guys have given us some great things over the years that that we have been able to share with our audience. And yesterday, I mean, how many times on a Monday afternoon do you dial in and we give away binoculars that you can carry to the football game for $279 value? That's pretty awesome. So we appreciate those guys.
Yeah. Folks wouldn't think they need it until they got it. So, man, these are good. But hey, Ryan, man, I know it's football season. We went to Tennessee, up to the Mennonites in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Did a little shopping and stuff up there. And on the way out, my wife Brittany was looking for something just to get her mom to hang on the wall. So we stopped by the Amish Welcome Center, I guess you call it. Let's just say there was a Tennessee fan there that did not like Brittany's shirt, the Alabama shirt. And she pretty much told her, she said, hey, it's just a shirt. She said, no, you shouldn't have worn it in here. If it hadn't been for the grace of the man upstairs, I might have had to pull her off of her. It's football season.
So a Tennessee fan did not like your Alabama shirt. Well,
no, I didn't like my wife's Alabama shirt.
Well, but think about it. If you got beat 16 out of 17 times, I'd probably be in the same category.
Oh yeah, I'd be a little upset too because she looked at her. She said, well, she said, hey, she had a Tennessee shirt on, and my wife said, hey, nice shirt. She said, not yours. She said, well, no, it's just a shirt. It's just, it's fun to talk about. She said, no, you shouldn't have worn it in here. And Brittany said, well, look over there. You got Bama stuff hanging over there. She said, yeah, we get some of y'all in here too. We got to get some things in here for y'all to buy. Brittany said, yeah. And she just agreed to disagree. I said, we need to just walk away. She said, well, if it hadn't been for the grace of the man upstairs, you might have had to pull me back across that counter because she worked there. She was a lady working at the register, checking people out. So yeah, it's football season, Ryan, and for some reason those Tennessee fans think they're back. So we'll see.
We'll see. Only time will tell. Hey, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Hey man, God bless and enjoying the shows, man. Just take care.
Thank you. D-Don helping us out there. We're going to continue with more phone calls. Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina, get ready. We're coming to you in 2 minutes. T-Town Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Townsend Nissan's got the best position for buying a vehicle. $2,000 to $10,000 in discounts now. No other dealer in town can do that. Townsend Nissan.
Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. As you know, it's one of my favorite places. Eat Southern, be Southern, the daily lunch and dinner specials, the great menu that features that Southern cuisine like the bacon wrap meatloaf, the fish and taters, the biscuit sandwiches, the great steaks, the great chicken entrees, great sandwiches, including the pickle burger, the Ale House burger, the yard bird, great desserts, and always that featured bread pudding that Brett Garner's cooking up. Let Southern Ale House cater your special event by calling Taylor at 205-248-7500. Call ahead orders always welcome. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. Rumsey Environmental, a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. If you're in the construction business, take a little bit of stress out of your life. The construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site, the portable toilet service, the storage containers to protect your valuables. It's Rumsey Environmental for that complete waste removal service when you have to know.
The Druid City Brewing Company on Saturday, August 24th. Doors open up at 3 p.m. Tickets are $10 with proceeds benefiting the Tuscaloosa Metro Animal Shelter. Learn more at ashfest.org.
Nuke's Eatery, they're on the fringe of the campus of the University of Alabama, close enough that you can smell the championships. The Nuke's Q sandwich, still the number one sandwich across the franchise. The French dip sandwich, I think, is going to challenge for that number one spot. The double club, the single club, you can pair those up with a great sandwich, salad, California-style pizzas, all available for catering from a group of 5 to 500, a small office party to a large corporate event. Joel Bromfield, they've done a great job for my family. They'll do a great job for you. 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. Nuke's Eatery, close enough that you can smell the championships. Don Wallace CPA, 527 Main Avenue in downtown Northport. Small business and personal income taxes, payroll, sales tax needs. They can also help you with nonprofit or church accounting or auditing. In business since 1999, they work for you, not the IRS. When you take on taxes, you got to have someone on your side. It's Don Wallace CPA, 205-345-5595, 205-345-5595. Don Wallace, CPA, the official accountant of the game.
Uncle Lynn,
Lord have mercy, Wyatt, man, we gotta switch you to classic rock, man. I don't know if
Bama Nick said he liked the old
stuff.
But
Bama Nick, he gets that one song, that's enough. Lord, man.
Buck Ole Hen, 1927.
Lord, have mercy. Lord. I mean, our reputation has went to you know where. Let's go to Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. Stephen, how would you grade that music? Glory.
Ryan Fowler, you better stick to Bama Nick approved programming like football, or you're going to stay in trouble.
Well, we're going to have to get White on board with our classic rock. He's got a combination of Luke Bryan and Taylor Swift over there, and Bama Nick's.
You guys have taken a liking to those Trogs. I know that they play all the time.
Yeah, they are the Trogs. I got to be honest. I had never heard of the Trogs until Bama Nick.
I had never heard of the Trogs either, but I had heard the song when I heard it play.
Me too. But I didn't.
When
know
I heard it
were.
play, but I didn't know who they were either.
Yeah.
So, you know what today is, though, Ryan?
July the 30th.
It's the last day of talking season.
Well, we're ending that, and we are now officially 16 hours and 12 minutes away from Alabama's first fall practice. Roll Tide.
The first fall practice under Kalen DeVore, under a new regime. I've been listening to the show a long time. I only, started calling in. First time I called was like basketball season a couple of years ago, but I only started calling in regular the last 6-8 months or so. But I've never seen this much excitement on your show during an off season.
It's been off the charts. Super, super busy. College football has done a nice job of filling in the gaps with kind of keeping the conversation going. When I first got in the business, I mean, you could go, I say you could train anybody to do college football show in Tuscaloosa from August until January. Now,
right,
with what we went through with Coach Saban, retiring and trying to learn about Kalen DeVore, then spring football, then right into the recruiting season, they filled in the gaps. I'm not just talking about from an Alabama perspective, but they, it's keeping the conversation going.
Well, when you look at all the things with NIL and all the changes, and it's just a plethora of things to talk about that keeps changing. And even if you hadn't had the Nick Saban retirement, with all the changes to college football and recruiting, I think it would have been a pretty full agenda regardless.
Yeah, just trying to learn a little bit more. We did a lot of interviews. We had, different coaches that have worked with Kalen, even featured his quarterback from South Dakota. That was kind of fun.
I think about I'm going to turn to politics for a second. I think about our upcoming election, Ryan.
Okay.
And I think about my walk with God. And Jesus commanded us to love even our enemy.
Maybe one of the hardest commandments we have.
And I think the trial for us as a Christian is, Ryan, I love my country. I'm a patriot. I served my country. I was in the Navy from 1990 to 94. And, but when you talk about what these people are trying to do to our country, and at the same time, keeping my promise to God to love my enemy, it's a hard walk, Ryan. And I think as Christians, it's one we got to be most mindful of as far as how we treat us.
Well, but we're also called to stand and call out good and evil too.
Yes, we are. There's no doubt. We're also called to follow the laws of the land, and the laws of the land are not being followed by those that are trying to tear this country apart. I realize that, but walking in love is going to be a hard thing in the next 3 or 4 months for sure. And I just think we should keep mindful of that. But as far as Alabama football, tomorrow's the day. I'm really excited. We have a month. Our football game 4 weeks from Saturday. Is that right?
It will be. It will be. 4 weeks from Saturday. And when you look at the schedule, I do like this schedule because, we've got 8 open practices that we can actually go to. We haven't done any of that. And, according to what we've been told, if we'll be good, we might even get a little, a few more throughout, some of the fall practices, which will be, even, that much more delivery to you guys. But when you look at, the availability, like tomorrow, first availability out of the gate, Coach Kalen DeBoer, press conference. Defensive players and coaches on Thursday. Nice. Then no practice on Friday. I believe they have an acclimation period, and then they have to stagger these days off. You can't go, so many consecutive days. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then you'll lead into Saturday. The weekend, White and I was talking about last Friday. A lot of people thought we were joking, but that was our final weekend because when you look at 9:20 on Saturday morning, 9:20 on Sunday morning, Coach DeBoer will talk again on Sunday. So we'll have Kalen DeBoer on Wednesday. We'll have Kalen DeBoer on Sunday. We have offensive coordinators, coaches, players on Saturday, defense. And I'm not complaining. The access is amazing. I mean, to be able to, provide that to the audience, it helps us do our job in a better way.
Now, I even like, Ryan, the way this schedule sets up as far as we have 2 games that, that should be sure wins. Because it's a new offense, new defense, new everything, and then we get a little bit of a test that third game. We have to go to Wisconsin, so we get to see how those. What did they say? The most improvements usually between the first and second game. So by that third game, we should see whatever kind of tricks we're having trouble with, whatever the new stuff we're having trouble with. We should see some improvement. Then, of course, that fourth game, by then, I really hope to see a lot of improvement over the new processes that we have in place. So I like the way it sets up, though, Ryan.
No, I do as well, and you've got that bye week to maybe clean up some things before you get to Georgia. Get 2 weeks to prepare for the Dogs. And I'm sure
there's a bye week before Georgia?
Oh, there is. This is a double bye week season. So you have 2 bye weeks throughout the season. You have one prior to LSU and one prior to Georgia.
Oh, I didn't even realize that, Ryan. I knew we had the 3 games, but I didn't realize there was a bye week there. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think it sets up well, and we're going to surprise a lot of people. Well, anyhow, roll tide and enjoy your show.
Thank you, Stephen. Stephen, Raleigh, North Carolina. We'll break here. We'll come back. We'll take more phone calls coming up in a couple of minutes. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Go inside the Alabama Crimson Tide with the Gary Harris Show.
Hey, everybody, it's Gary Harris. Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., it's the Gary Harris Show, and we're going to take a break with Matt Coulter for the NASCAR report because there's no race for a couple of weeks due to the Olympics, so we won't have Matt, but we will have the coach, Ellis Johnson, breaking down SEC football. He'll be with us, plus Alabama opens up fall camp, so a ton of football discussion on the Gary Harris Show, Wednesday morning at 9 a.m.
Catch the Gary Harris Show Monday through Friday, 9 to 11 a.m. on Tide 100.9 and Tide100.9.com. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, I got good news for you. McFarland westbound at 37th Street. The earlier accident cleared from those left lanes. Now, you do still have a few stragglers left as far as residual backups. And 359, I do see where you have some significant delays on the southbound lanes at Skyland Boulevard. As a matter of fact, that's going to
398-9845. 800-398-9845. That's 800-398-9845.
Alabama Credit Union with the official countdown to Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on the game. AlabamaCU.com. The mobile app saves a lot of time. The mobile deposits, checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle, the great competitive rates. Alabama Credit Union with great branches all over West Alabama and throughout the state of Alabama. Alabama Credit Union, AlabamaCU.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's hot and humid this afternoon. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Highs topping out near 95 degrees. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies. Low near 75. And tomorrow, another hot day with mostly sunny skies and a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
The game is powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. David DeSantis, the largest selection of new Toyotas in over 3 years, can be found on Skyline Boulevard, 3325 Skyline Boulevard. Also a nice inventory of pre-owned inventory. You can find the new Tundra, the 2024, the Tacoma two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. How about a new 4Runner, Highlander, RAV4, Camry, Corolla? For those outside of Tuscaloosa,
Alabama, Julio Jones Kia off Greensboro Ave. Stop in today or visit us online at buyfromjulio.com.
Buyers must have qualified credit. Not all buyers will qualify.
Dos Amigos, Highway 69 in the new Publix Shopping Center. 11 a.m. opening, 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday closing at 9, Sunday through Thursday. Some great Mexican cuisine, the great fajitas, the great desserts, the great lunch specials. You'll find it at Dos Amigos in the Publix Shopping Center on Highway 69. Takeout orders always an option at 205-737-7344, 205-737-7344. Dos Amigos. For over 5 years in our community in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge, Mark's Mark, the home of the chicken swirl. You'll find that since 1978 in Selma, Alabama, for over 5 years in downtown Northport. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, find Mark's Mark. A great stop by on your way home. If you're preparing for dinner, they've got a lot of those gourmet dishes that you can find, the great casseroles, the dips, the appetizers, the great steaks, the pork chops, the burgers, and all the supplies you need to dominate the grill. It's Mark's Mark for over 5 years in downtown Northport and since 1978 in Selma, Alabama. Mark's Mark, home of the chicken swirl.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Biles.
History again for Simone Biles. She won her 8th Olympic medal today, the most of any American gymnast, as the U.S. women's gymnastics team won gold in the team final in Paris. It's the 3rd team gold in the past 4 Olympics for the United States. Gold number 5 for Biles in the 8th overall medal, which again is an American record. Italy took home the silver. Brazil won bronze today. Baseball's trade deadline comes up at 6 o'clock Eastern time. The Marlins seem to be trading everybody. They sent Josh Bell, the first baseman, to the Diamondbacks. Guardians, they got pitcher Alex Cobb from the Giants. Guardians, by the way, today were 5-0 winners against the Tigers. Padres are getting closer. Tanner Scott from the Marlins. Marlins also dealt outfielder Brian De La Cruz to the Pirates. Pirates getting Isaiah Kiner-Falefa from the Toronto Blue Jays. Bears will not play first-round pick Caleb Williams Thursday against the Texans. Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers not likely to play in the preseason.
Rolling down a backwoods Tennessee byway, one arm on the wheel, holding my lover with the other, a sweet soft southern thrill. Worked hard all week, got a little jingle.
All right, let's count them together. You guys ready? 18 national titles, 30 SEC titles, 147 first-team All-American, 77 postseason appearances, 45 postseason victories, 4 Heisman winners, the NCAA all-time scoring leader, the greatest football coaches to ever walk the sidelines. We are talking little Alabama Crimson Tide football, and we are powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyland Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. If you're looking for that Tundra, 1.9 APR for 36, and that is happening, only guaranteed to go through tomorrow. It'll end the 31st. They could extend that. We'll get those details coming up. The big one sales event includes the 2024 Corolla, 2.99 APR for 36. If you're looking for the Highlander, 3.99 for 36, 2.99 on the RAV4 for 36. And if you look at all the great interest specials, you can view all of that online. You can also view the incoming inventory, also the pre-owned inventory, and you can rent a vehicle. Rent a Toyota at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. We are now 32 days away. We are one C.J. Mosley away from Alabama Crimson Tide football. 32 days away. Brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. Feel good at home. Feel good about your money. Quick mortgage, easy financing, alabamacu.com. You get qualified in 24 hours or less. Feel good about your money, alabamacu.com. Let's continue with more phone calls, and we go to Biscuit Bruce. Biscuit Bruce, congratulations to you on winning those nice binoculars yesterday. That was pretty awesome. And
always great to be on Tide 100.9. The game we run. Giveaway Vortex binoculars Fowler.
And you know what?
Man,
those are pretty sharp too. They're the 8x32, 279, and I
tell you, it's always good to start the year out being a winner right off the bat.
It pays to listen to this program. It pays.
That's right.
You know, and especially for you admitted this, Biscuit Buzzard Bruce last week.
Yep.
So,
I just have dropped the ball for the last couple of months. Listening, but not calling like I should. And
that's why your binoculars is going to turn into a what do you call a monocular or whatever? You're going to cut it in half.
Yeah,
monocular is that what you say? Yeah. So this year our packages are going to be based on the participation.
Yeah.
So
you don't have to worry about my participation from now on. I just
you have won one naturally organic pocket lint. It is.
How about that? I had a ball in the bucket last year, I think.
You did.
Look, it's here. So, where was you, Ryan? Where was you today?
I can't say where I was at. I never know how to address those meetings. Because
it's like
we're told
now
we're getting so much access. It's like our head is spinning, which is a good thing. Yeah. So
the things that are happening now hadn't happened in the last 17 years. So it takes some accommodation and getting accustomed to meeting that schedule.
Seeing a coach smile at us is unique. It's
seeing a coach speak to you is pretty unique, too, ain't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Coach was and we never let it interfere, but he was not an easy guy to cover, and really, Coach Saban was tough. He was. He'd cuss you out in a heartbeat.
Probably the toughest.
I got called a couple of names that, back in my day, those used to be, not fighting words, but they were fighting words. Woo! Yeah. Thanks, Coach. I'll never forget one time he called me something, and I called A.J. McCarron, and I said, man, he goes, welcome to the club. I got called that every day. I was like, good. Because first time I heard it, I was like, "Oh, really? Are you kidding?" Yeah. So Coach Saban had his way of doing things, and it worked. 6 national titles, 9 SEC titles. His scare tactics were, in that building when you walk in there. People were walking on eggshells. They were nervous. They were like, "Whoa," you
can't argue with success, but.
No.
He handled it totally different, and which it's to each their own. Which is why the atmosphere and the excitement has totally changed with the new coaching change. Players and, there'll always be a set of fans that are never happy, but, it's, nothing lasts forever. I mean, we all knew Saban was going to retire one day.
Well, I think that stress with he's now retired, it was a cloud. Okay, I'm not saying it was a bad cloud, but it was an unknown, right? Would it be this year? Would it be 2 years from now? Would it be 3 years from now? Would it be 5 years from now? Would it be 1 year from now? What was that going to be like? What was, that had to create some angst in the building. It had to. Because if we're talking about it on the outside of the building, inside the building they're talking about it.
Yeah, uncertainty would just, you never knew. And, it's like Tim Brando, So all these guys, all these coaches are going out there telling people, well, Saban ain't going to be there when you graduate. Well, they were wrong for so long, then eventually they were going to be right.
Sure.
I told you.
Great point.
Well, yeah. Well, you told players that for 17 years, and why don't you admit that you were wrong and you were wrong then? Well, they don't want to do that. For 8 years in a row, Brando picked somebody else to win a national championship besides the SEC. The SEC won't. They'll never win it this year. Well, we kept winning it. Well, finally the 9th year he got one right. And, that's all he wanted to talk about. I told you they wasn't going to win it. Well, you were wrong for 8 years. If I predict something like that, I lose interest in, I don't know what you call it respect, but I don't have much respect for somebody that continues over and over and over to beat that dead horse and is never right, but never admits they were wrong when they are right. They get 1 out of 10, and that's not a very good percentage in my book.
The late Cecil Hurt told me the exact same thing of what you're saying. He said they will be people when Nick Saban retires that they'll say, "I told you so."
Yeah.
And it was like 10 years ago. We told you so. We told you so.
Yeah. Well, I told you wasn't going to be there when you retired. Hey, it's like this big cat, whatever weekend, people put too much emphasis on that kind of stuff. And, you got people flip-flopping like taking a pair of flip-flops on and off at the beach. You take them off when you go down there on the beach. You put them back on when you come up to walk to your room. These guys are flip-flopping like that.
Do you? Okay, and
that's the modern day. That's the modern day football. That is what's going to happen from now on.
Well, take a guy that has flipped 4 times in a matter of 3 months.
Yeah.
How long is
he going to?
Okay, you go put him in the locker room. How long is he going to be there? You think maybe 1 semester, 2 semester, until there's
a better... be a cancer. Yeah, he's going to be a cancer until, because things are not going to go right. Usually not going to go the way he wants them to the first year.
Yeah.
So he's automatically going to be looking for something else and running his mouth, and he's a cancer in the locker room. It's just that simple. But it is what it is. I don't care who Auburn is. It doesn't really matter to me. What it comes down to is Iron Bowl. What's the result? And if their result has not been, not even in the Iron Bowl. They just haven't. The results are garbage the last 5 years. So I don't know. People just hear them talk about it, but I'm sure Kirby, has told a few players, well, I told you he was getting ready to retire. I told you. Well, you told recruits that the first year you went out recruiting. Saban, he's done been there. First year you went to Georgia. That was your main phrase. If Saban's fixing to retire, he ain't gonna be there.
Sure.
We all know what his tactics are. And it doesn't take away from the fact that Kirby Smart is a good coach. He's probably borderline being a great coach. I don't care for some of his ethics. If they allow this kid back on the team that they just arrested, then I don't have no respect for them. At some point in time, you got to cut somebody loose. You know, there's chances, and you know, like Tuberville said, you know, well, you got to be fair. Well, no, you don't either. You at some point, you got to look at them and say, you know, you made your bed, now go lie. And that other stuff,
I'd hate to know that I was a coach in this current time, and I think we saw that. Mac Brown said it the other day. It changes the way I coach. I can no longer coach the way that I've always coached. So,
yeah. Well, the first minute they allowed a transfer to transfer, then all coaches, including mostly Saban, he can't now tell those players what he told AJ and what he told the rest of them to make them better players, better performers, better men. He can't coach like that anymore because a guy will just walk in the locker room and call another team, transfer out. You know, there's no accountability, and when you allow that, then you've lost all control. And I mean, that's what's happened to college football. I mean, you know, 5 years from now, it'll be a joke. I mean, it'll never be the game that it was, that we all enjoyed so much watching, participating, going, being a fan, which we'll always be, but it'll never be the game that it used to be. They've lost control of it. They allow the government to get involved, and now they will destroy what you used to know as NCAA amateur college football. It's done. I mean, they ain't no going back. So, you know, but you know, as always, we're going to be Alabama, and we're going to be. You know, we're going to be in the upper echelon, and it's the other schools.
Well, it's kind of like what Saban said. We're one of the haves and the have-nots, and we're one of the haves.
That's right.
So
we are. You know, it's just simple fact. You know, there's a group of schools in this country that are the haves. You know, and they're always going to be the haves because they've always been the haves, and they produce and they make hires, and they've just always, you know. People keep saying, you know, well, one day. Well, no, not one day, because we've got that. We are one of the haves. And that's just all you can say. You know, all you have-nots can keep hoping and praying and wishing that one day, but that day ain't never coming. I mean, we are one of the haves. Doesn't matter what, you know, they do. It's changed the game totally, but it hadn't changed the fact that we are the University of Alabama. And that speaks tremendously, no matter what all them other people want to say.
Yeah. Hey, Biscuit, I appreciate you, man, as always. Thank you.
We can back it up. I want to thank all my voters that voted for me and got me these binoculars. And it wasn't a vote, was it?
Oh, it wasn't. Yeah, it was not a vote. It was you can thank the Google number generator for drawing your number.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah, if you want.
Look, I'm not a tech man, but I want to thank Google today for my binoculars.
Yeah.
So how about that?
And it was as simple as that. We put in all numbers in there, and it generated number 7, and we correlated that with our sheet right here. And
Mickey Mantle number.
And there it is.
That was a good number.
Number
Mickey
7.
Mantle.
So
there you go. Always great to talk to
Thanks.
you, man. Always great to be on your program. Like I just said, you know, it doesn't matter what else happens, because there's one thing we are, and one thing we'll always be. We are the University of Alabama. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Let's go to Karen in Tuscaloosa. Karen, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
It is, Brian. How are you?
Oh, good. It's Countdown Zone, 32 days away. Brought to you by Alabama Credit Union.
That's right. We have
15 hours and about 42 minutes away from first practice.
That's right.
Number 1. The road to 19 begins.
I wondered, I heard you talking about practices and times, and we got our notification about our Red Elephant Club meeting. And the scrimmage, the doors are open at like 9 o'clock, and the scrimmage starts at 9:30 on the 17th. And it's always been, like, much later in the day. Like, you know, the doors open at, like, 11. And then, you know, they have start the practice. And then coach come and talk to us around 3:30 or 4. So are most of the practice times early in the morning?
They will be all there.
Okay.
They will be. It'll be a little bit of adjustment. I'm looking at the schedule, and I go back to the Red Elephant Club. Would repeat what you just said?
We got our notification that we get to go to the scrimmage 2 weeks before the first game, and I guess that's the last scrimmage, which will be on Saturday the 17th. And normally we would always get there at like 11 and eat, and then scrimmage would start like at 12:30, and it would be over, and he would have his press conference, and then he would come and talk to the Crimson Tide Foundation, Nick's Kids, you know, all the sponsors and all the Red Elephant Club members as a joint, you know, thing, and he would talk to us, and then it was over, and that would usually be over around 4:30. Well, this year we get there. I think it said doors open at 9. Practice starts at 9:30. Then we're going to eat like at 11:30, and then I guess he's going to talk to us after he finishes. You know, we'll be the last group he talks to, but it'll be right around lunchtime, and then we're done. And I remember hearing him say something about the heat, or you know, something about that, and it made me wonder. I wonder if he thinks that practicing earlier in the day when, you know, it's not so scalding hot outside, if that's just something that they've implemented so it's not as hot, you know, because obviously it's not hot early in the morning, you know. So I didn't know about the other practices, and that's why I'm wondering what y'all's schedule.
Like I'm looking at Fan Day. That is the only late practice that I see.
Okay.
And that was I'm trying to be careful, and I'm being careful because because it says not for public release. So I'm trying to answer your question, but also be respectful to the media relations folks that sent this out. The only day, but is different, is Fan Day. That is Sunday, August the 11th, but that's also been publicized, so I can actually talk about that. I see one other one that is at 10:30. That is other than that, I think this is where their practice time's going to be. I think that's.
Well, I mean, I think it's good. You know, I think it's good for them to have earlier practices in the day before, you know, the bad heat, you know, the worst of the heat starts. So I just noticed that was the difference. That, you know, and obviously he's changing things. So that's
and I think the reason why I was explained, because I kind of inquired about this. Coach DeBoer had told me back in February that we were going to a morning team. At that point, he told me to that was off record, so I couldn't discuss it. But when he announced that, he kind of made me understand what it was for, and I don't mind kind of sharing this because I don't think this is something, because he's talked about it. You know, we talked about it at media days. I asked him about it, and so he's spoken openly about it now. But it's one of those things that they feel like they can get more out of their players from an individual standpoint if they do. And a lot of your NFL teams do it as well. So it's kind of an NFL model. You practice in the morning, so you wake up, you get to the facility, you go through your breakfast and all those different things. You go through your stretch, and then you get out, you practice. Okay. Then you go to class. Well, then there's 3 or 4 hours at the end of the day, you know, that you've already got everything, you know, taken care of. You may come back and do more individual work simply because you have that option. If you practice in the afternoon, people would always save stuff up, and they would go, okay, well, let's go practice at 3:30. Well, time you get out of the building, it's 7:30, it's 8 o'clock. You don't get any more and if you wouldn't do individual because in the morning, because you're going, okay, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that because I got to save up for this afternoon. Don't know how practice is going to be. Is it going to be crazy? Is it going to be, you know, and so here we are. I like it from me, but I'm also giving you because it's going to take an adjustment for me. I'm no longer previewing what Coach DeBoer will say following practice or what Coach Saban would say following practice. I'll have to react, and I'll have about 2 hours. I'll be in the building, so it'll give me a chance that I've never had in my radio career. It's always been the afternoon practice. So,
what happened? Not speculating what's going to happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. And trust me, I had practice sources. I had people that would text me from practice. So, and it wasn't a milkshake guy at Jack's, even though he could see a lot of things. And that was always, it was kind of hard trying to address things that Coach Saban had not addressed yet because, there's certain things that he wanted out there and certain things he did not want out there. And so I try to respect that. But I'm also trying to do my job too.
Right. Well, and you do that very well, and you want to respect them because you don't want, to divulge things that aren't supposed to be divulged. And if that makes sense. And I'm a morning person, so I agree with that. By the time I get to the end of the day, it's like I might have all these plans that I'm going to do this when I get home from work tonight. And so, and a lot of times it doesn't happen. Because, I've hit my stride in the morning and been my best in the morning. And then by the time I get home, it's like, I'll do that later, that type of thing. So I like that, being a morning person, and that's good. Maybe that it will help the players become, better organizing of their time and stuff like that. And that might be part of it too, So catch them when they're fresh in the morning.
Yeah, and I think they would have transitioned in the spring, but the class schedule was already there. So, that was one of those things that they could not, move that around logistically speaking. But now with plans and probably adjusting some of the schedule, they're able to do that. And I like the system. Karen, I can't tell you the times that I've went in that football building, and it just feels different. It is. And I'm saying a positive when you talk to people, and trust me, we do. There was some stress that Coach Saban created just from walking down the hallway.
I've been in environments like that.
And sometimes that's good for attention to detail, but sometimes it can create an environment that is, the recruits can pick it up on it. The rumor was Alabama was all business.
Right.
Now they've combined that script A, and they're having a little bit of fun inside that building. I think you're seeing that pay off in the recruiting front.
Well, and that's good because sometimes you have to do that, to speak to the generation of the players because, the older we get, we realize that our generation, is not like it was. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the age difference between Saban and DeBoer. Not that, like you said, not that Saban's was bad or DeBoer's is the right one or whatever. It's a different in generations, how their style, I guess is a good way to put it. But one thing I wanted to mention before I leave is I definitely think, your caller before last, I guess, I definitely think Jalen is a different player after being benched. And I think he learned how to pick up the people who were not as talented around him. He learned how to be there and be a leader for them, just like Saban did with A.J. McCarron when he put him, if you remember that story we heard about, he put him with the third or fourth string, and A.J. was furious.
I'm
storming in his office.
You brought up AJ. Him and I are back and forth on a text exchange right now as we talk. So
okay,
it's kind of funny that you brought up his name.
And I had heard that story that he was mad after Saban put him with the not with the ones, and he was like, they were horrible. And he goes, "You had one lesson. I know you're the best one of all of those people you just practiced with, and I wanted you to learn how to build them up and help them get better." And, he said, and you failed, or at least that's what I heard. I don't know if AJ can verify that or not, but,
he told the story, and I'll never forget it. And he shared with me a couple of different times in what it was, and they had brought him in to compete. They'd brought him in to compete, and he didn't really feel like he was getting to compete. And he goes into practice, and he's out there working with the worst offensive line, the worst receivers, the entire part. Have you ever heard this story, Wyatt? Oh, this is killer. I need to get AJ on to tell a story, but he does a much better job. And he's out there just getting toasted. I mean, pressure hitting wide receivers. I mean, he's throwing to people that look like Wyatt and I. No offense, Wyatt. Okay. So he said he goes running up to Coach Saban's office.
Yep.
With his full pads. He didn't even take his pads off, did not go to the locker room, went straight to Nick Saban's office. He said, Coach, what are you doing to me? I mean, you got me out here with all these scrubs. I mean, I don't have anything. What do you expect? And he said, Nick Saban's little low-brim glasses, he looked over and he goes, young man, I'm trying to test your leadership, and right now I don't like what I see.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, that's a good story.
Yeah, and that is what he was trying to test. He knew that Jalen was a great player, but he also knew that Jalen needed to be a leader for the less talented players around him. And if you remember from that South Florida game, they played so awful. We won, thank goodness. But he was out there, and he was building them up, and he was like, okay, it's okay. You can do this. And he did exactly what Saban wanted him to do. And sometimes that's the type of leader you have to be, is to build up your team around you and, help them out when they're struggling. And so you say what you want to say, but he knew he was the master at teaching what he needed to get across to his players. So, some people don't like the style. I personally like the style because I think that's the way I think all good leaders are like that. And you always heard, I remember Kirby Smart, when he went to Georgia, somebody talked to him, asking him stuff about, being under Coach Saban. And he said, well, I'll tell you one thing. He said, you will never outwork Nick Saban, because whatever he's asking his coaching staff to do or his player, he is not going to ever ask you to do anything he would not himself do. And he's always going to outwork you. And that's the type of leader you need, not somebody who sits around who thinks they're better than everybody else and you do what I say. He's out there doing it too. So, anyway. It was great to talk to you, Ryan.
It's great to talk to you.
It's been a while.
Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
You too. Roll Tide. We'll talk to you later.
Roll Tide. We'll continue with more of the game. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A heat advisory remains in effect for all of West Alabama until 9 o'clock tonight. Temperatures in the upper 90s and high humidity levels will produce a heat index upwards of 108 degrees. Controversy over an alleged racial slur used by a white co-owner of the iconic Nick's Original Filet House in West Tuscaloosa continues. The NAACP has called for a boycott of the landmark restaurant and asked for an apology. With classes resuming next week, school and health officials are advising parents to get their students back on the school sleep schedule now.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, it looks like we're doing pretty good in the area right now. We're looking at construction zones, and that's not causing a huge to-do for you right now. So we do have road work on 2059 in several locations. But on the eastbound lanes at Foster's, you got that road work, and eastbound 2059.
Also offer custom screen printing. Let Eyecatchers print shirts for your next event. 345-7762. Eyecatcher Screen Printing and Gifts, where getting seen becomes an art.
DanielMooreArt.com. Daniel Moore Art celebrates those special moments of Alabama football history, like 4th and 31, Jalen Milroe connected with Isaiah Bond, or the legacy continues with all the great memories of Alabama Crimson Tide football. You can celebrate Coach Saban with a Nick Saban print, the limited edition canvas. You could also find many of the great mini prints. Celebrate that special Alabama fan in your life.
You'll actually talk to me. 205-800-8000. I've got this.
No representations made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
It's hot and humid this afternoon. Intervals of clouds and sunshine. Highs topping out near 95 degrees. Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies. Low near 75. And tomorrow, another hot day with mostly sunny skies and a high of 96. I'm meteorologist Bill Murray on Tide 100.9.
You're listening to the best sports talk show, breaking down the Crimson Tide, the game with Ryan.
At Midtown, TJ Thomas, he's the Nick Saban of Pharmacist, 205-752-0627, 205-752-0627, PharmacyMidtown.com, independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time, packaging the compounding needs, the only sterile compounding facility here in Tuscaloosa. It is the Pharmacy at Midtown, TJ Thomas, the Nick Saban of Pharmacist, always doing a great job. No doubt. We'll always want to appreciate Northport Power Equipment. I had a chance this weekend to try out one of the bigger Husqvarna mowers. I jumped on a commercial one. That was very impressive. It was the Z554L. Many of you professionals out there know exactly what I'm talking about. The new and all redesigned Husqvarna commercial mower, plenty of power, did a great job of cutting grass, whether you're a residential or a commercial landscaper. You can find those, the Skag commercial and residential. You got many different entry levels on as far as the commercial and the residential. And that is one of the things that we dive into when you look at the world of Northport Power Equipment. Northport Power Equipment. Echo Outdoor Power Equipment, battery-operated tools. You'll find those. It is our good friends right there. Let's continue with more phone calls. We'll go to Josh in Georgia. Josh, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Everything is good. I was having a good day, got out of work. Of course, I turn you on pretty much anytime I'm out of work because you're on 30 minutes by the time I'm out of work. So anyways, I jump in my Facebook group page of my local sports store where I told you I won the helmet from of Marvin Constant.
Yeah.
Well, they had a Bama bundle. Let me get tongue-tied saying that. Bama bundle giveaway. It was a cup, a beach towel, a hat, and one of the Bama Time magazines, and he had an Anthony Orr autograph in there. So I had 2 spots, $24 wrapped up in it. I won the thing again. So I added more stuff to the Bama collection.
And so what did you win?
I won. Have you seen the 40-ounce game time tumblers, the collegiate tumblers with the handles? It's basically trying to be a Stanley, but it's a tumbler, and it's got the removable handle. It's 40 ounces. It's a big cup, and it's got the script A. I'll send you a picture of it.
Okay.
Beach towel, a hat, one of the Bama Time magazines. Of course, it's got Jalen on the front, and I've already got one of those. So I know a friend who can definitely use one, and he lives here in Georgia. So I got another hat and Anthony Orr 8x10 autograph. So I know Anthony Orr I think he was under Coach Saban, if I'm not mistaken.
He was.
So.
Well, there you go. There you go.
So I started pulling I've got some other stuff on my shelf, and this was in a plastic cover, but I'm going to get a frame for it. It's a Sports Illustrated SEC preview, and it's got Coach Saban on the front. And then I've got 2 12 by 18 pictures from the Rose Bowl when we beat Texas. I know Digger will appreciate that. And one's it's a collage of the guys. And then one, I cannot tell exactly who this is, and it's at least printed autograph. It's not actually, authentic autograph, but it's Colt McCoy was number 12, was he not? Or was he 3? I thought Garrett Gilbert was 3 in that game. But anyway, it's a hit. It's a hit somebody laying the smack on him. And this is stuff somebody's gave me. And then I've got this other picture of Coach Bryant, and it says, show class, have pride, display character. If you do, winning takes care of itself, Coach Paul Bryant. So I'm going to go get me some frames.
Colt McCoy did wear 12 at Texas.
That's what I thought. Garrett Gilbert was 3. So I've got a picture of somebody laying the smack on Garrett Gilbert in this game. And it looks like Darius. I can't fully make out the number, if it's 57 or not, because of the angle of the picture, but it's a thick picture. It'll go nice whenever I get ready to hang it up. So I'm fixing to head out, get me some supper, and go get me some frames for some of this stuff and frame it. And I am adding to the collection. Of course, I know I told you I bought a Legacy Continues while I was down in Tuscaloosa. Let me tell you something, Ryan. The more I look at this Legacy Continues,
I love it. It's one of my favorite
the
prints.
more I love, because it's in the top very corner, it's got the Crimson Legacy, but then all the moments from the Coach Saban dynasty, 2nd down and 26, the washout, the Drake diving for the pylon. I mean, it is thick, and I cannot wait to fully get a place to hang this up. It's sitting against the wall right now, and I can look at it anytime I want to, and it does something to me, Ryan, as we're 32 days away.
32 days. 32 days away.
C.J. Mosley, Dylan Moses, some great players has wore 32 for the University of Alabama. And, but anyways, I can't wait. I know practice is tomorrow morning, and unfortunately I won't get to catch anything that y'all put out live. I'll have to catch it, as the day goes on because of work. But I can't wait. We are getting here. We are almost within a month of college football, and it just feels so good. You said it earlier when you was talking to somebody. It did not feel like an off season because it has been so crazy, so high speed, so chaotic with everything that's happened in Tuscaloosa. And now it's just waiting and seeing to see this production put onto the field. And I told you yesterday, and I'll say it again, I expect big things, not just from this offense, but this team as a whole, because this coaching staff, I think they just know what they're doing. I believe they know what they're doing.
Well, they've cultivated a really nice energy in that building.
Dude, I'm telling you. And I'm over here in Georgia. And I told you about that video of Coach Shep I went and watched where he was talking to that recruit. Dude, I watched that probably more times than I want to admit, just like I watched the 4th and 31 play more times than I wanted to admit the week it happened. I cannot tell you how many times I watched that. And that video of Coach Shep, and I've been trying to find some other videos of, like, just what people put out besides you and the couple others I follow. And I just, dude, if it's Alabama, and if I can get to it, I can take it in, because I know AL.com, I don't know if you follow them with anything. They got that podcast they just started with Eli Gold, and I look forward to listening to that. I have not listened to it yet. There's 2 episodes up. And I look forward to listening to that. But if it's Alabama and if I can get my hands on it, you better believe I've got hands on it, ears to it, eyes on it. I mean, dude, I am glued and I am all in.
Josh,
y'all know that.
I just got to ask you one question.
Okay.
You got to pace yourself, man.
Okay.
I mean, here we are. We haven't even made it to August. I mean, you're ready to strap on the pads today.
Yeah. You know what part of that is? Because I live where I live, dude. I deal with bull puppies all week long, all day long. I deal with other fan bases. My safety guy at work, Bryce, Lord bless him, he's an Auburn fan. Oh, I walked up to him the other day, and we have to wear safety vests in the warehouse. Well, on my floor, I don't particularly wear mine unless I'm actually walking through the warehouse for Heister traffic reasons. But when I'm up on my floor where I work in my area, I don't wear mine because it's hot in a T-shirt and that stinking little safety vest. Well, I walked up to Bryce, and I was just going to say something to him. And I had my red Where Legends Are Made shirt on, and he's like, dude, we're going to find another person to do your job just because of that shirt. I'm like, whatever. So the reason I'm ready to strap on pads and a helmet and put in a mouthpiece and say, put me in wherever, is because I live where I live and I deal with what I deal with. I deal with an assortment of fans over here. Tennessee, Georgia, Auburn. I have a few Alabama guys. So anyways, but hey, it's on like Donkey Kong. Put me in. Come on. It doesn't matter where.
Roll Tide. Roll Tide. Thank you, man.
Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah, buddy.
Josh, Georgia, helping us out there. Let's continue with more phone calls. We're going to break here. We'll come back. Oh, do I have to? I will next. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson.
Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers slip-ins. Get your slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
For over 5 years in our community in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge, Mark's Mark, the home of the chicken swirl. You'll find that since 1978 in Selma, Alabama, for over 5 years in downtown Northport. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, find Mark's Mark. A great stop by on your way home. If you're preparing for dinner, they've got a lot of those gourmet dishes that you can find, the great casseroles, the dips, the appetizers, the great steaks, the pork chops, the burgers, and all the supplies you need to dominate the
changes within just a couple of days.
Text SUPPORT to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Go ahead and make your way over to the left lane on McFarland Boulevard, eastbound at Joe Malisham Parkway. That accident has the right turn lane blocked, and it's got traffic bumper to bumper tight. We're also, speaking of bumper to bumper, Lurleen Wallace northbound onto McFarland Boulevard. That also has its tight delays now, even heavier.
Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
The Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas, 205-752-0627. PharmacyMidtown.com. Don't forget about the retail side of the Pharmacy at Midtown. It's an independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time packaging, which increases that independence. Compounding needs. The only sterile compounding facility in Tuscaloosa is the Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas.
The best breakdown of Alabama football in the state. The Game with Ryan Fowler.
All right, here we go. Let's rock and roll. Final couple of minutes of the show. We have been all over the place. We've had a lot of fun. We had Senator Tommy Tuberville on earlier. We also had Mike Detillier. We'll do another big show tomorrow. Practice number 1 on the campus of the University of Alabama. Here we go. Let's go to AC in Bangladesh. AC, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Good afternoon, sir. How you feeling? Thank you so much for taking my call.
I'm good. We've missed you.
Good. Well, sure. Absolutely. You did all right. You know, I need more time to talk about that rivalry between Ohio State and Michigan versus Iron Bowl. I need more time. But let me ask you a question. So we're going to do parlay this season. I want to participate. So it seems like you're just going to do Friday. Can I give my picks via text message?
No.
Let's assume I cannot get in.
No.
Why not?
Well, it's called a contest.
And it is a contest. I'm going to participate. They got to open up Thursday and Friday so I can participate too. You got to open up an extra day, Mr. Fowler. That's what I'm telling you.
AC, we'll listen to recommendations, but at the end of the day, we're probably going to stick with what we've been doing for 10, 15 years.
That's good, but you want more participation, right?
We do. That's why we call it a contest. It's on Friday. Getting in is
so
part of the battle.
Okay, so maybe I can give you my picks on Thursday, if possible.
No, AC, we do it on Friday. We do parlay picks on a Friday. It's not very hard. It's not very complicated. You just got to...
I understand, sir, but Friday's one of the busiest show you have. So I'm saying if you have 50 callers and they want to get in, including me, how are they getting in, Mr. Fowler?
I guess.
Just think about it. You got a month to think about, right?
They're not getting in. I mean, we take them in order, and we do speed things up. We don't spend as much time talking to people like we do in the off season.
That's good.
So we'll have. I mean, we normally squeeze in. Now on the score prediction day, we'll do that Tuesday and Wednesday like we've done. But
okay,
that's
I'm very new to all this, so I have to get used to the concept. So I guess you should have maybe 1 or 2 guests on Friday. You should get those callers out of the way within 2-3 minutes so everybody could get in, right?
That's normally what we do is 1 to 2 guests. We don't generally run very guest heavy on Friday.
Yeah, the other shows has like 50, not 50, but probably like 8 gazillion guests. Hey, come on, man, cut that out already. But let me ask you a question. Why don't you do the spread challenge, Mr. Fowler? That's even challenging
what is
too.
The spread
I think we should have
challenge?
2 contests going. We guess against the spread. Let's see how well we do. Let's see how bad I lose, like those Alabama Crimson Tide.
Hey, see, just stay buckled up until the season starts. Well, that's what we're doing. That's what a call a parlay pick is.
Well, you better come up with something because it's been a month. You're not coming up with a better plan. I'm giving you better come up with a plan within 2 weeks because I don't like it. I'm not a patient person when it comes to competition because I want more and more damn competition, Mr. Fowler. Love you, bro. Hop.
Get the heck out of here. My Lord, man. That guy is nuts. JR, Coker, Alabama. JR, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Brian. I'm not in Coker right now. I'm in DCH.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah. No, that's not good. I had an accident and I got a concussion.
Ooh, okay. Car accident?
6 staples in my head.
What'd you do?
I blacked out in the heat, outside in the heat. I hit my head. I don't even know what happened. Really, I haven't been told yet. All I know is I woke up in the hospital.
Are you currently in the hospital, like right now in the emergency room, or?
No, that happened yesterday. I'm in room 736 if you want to come by and visit.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to come by, but I wish you.
Well, I was just saying.
Yeah.
You sent a card. It looks like I'm going to be here a few days.
Man, I hate that. Well, listen to the doctor. Don't be focused on us. Concussion, man. You got to. I mean,
I couldn't even stand up. I can't even stand up right now without somebody holding me.
But you don't need to be on the Sports Talk Radio, man. You got to go and sit in a dark room.
Hurt to talk. It doesn't hurt to talk.
Well,
it hurts to try to stand up. That's about it.
Well, one of the reasons how you recover from a concussion is not get as much stimulus out there. You got to cut some of that out, man. I'm just trying to give you from a medical standpoint. You need to be careful out there. So, hey, JR, let me let you go, man. So I want to see you get better, but please keep us up to date, man. Please.
Okay, roll tide.
Roll tide. He doesn't sound very good. Let's go to Cowboy. Cowboy, 1 minute. Let it rip. Go.
Hey, Ryan, I just heard you say something about the pharmacists being the Nick Saban of pharmacists.
They don't yell at you, though.
Yeah. Now, does he make everybody feel tension when he comes in his pharmacy, like you just said? Nick Saban had all kind of tension in the football building.
Yeah, I mean some. Yeah, I mean the pharmacy in Midtown. Like if you're
when you go in there.
Yeah, if you're an Auburn fan, you walk in, you never know. I mean, you may leave Viagra, or you could be living with a tranquilizer.
Yeah, well, either if you're a pharmacist in the state of Alabama, you either went to Auburn or you went to Stanford.
He went to Stanford.
Alabama doesn't have it.
He went to Stanford.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
All right.
I mean, you think we're going to be affiliated with an Auburn guy? Come on, Cowboy. I thought you trusted us.
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
We don't hang around leftists or Auburn fans. Either one of those.
Really?
Yeah.
I got you.
We're trying to quit.
So you're not a leftist supporter, I take it.
Well, I mean, I voted for Joe back in 2020. I made the biggest mistake of my life.
Are you serious?
No. Lord, no, I didn't vote for that clown. Come on, Cowboy. Get here when you can.
Hey, let me ask something. Are you moving your show to the morning time?
No.
Because, with Nick Saban as head coach and all the other coaches, it was in the afternoon. Your show's going to be like all the way down the fiddle line now, man. You're going to be old news.
Yeah, but I'll actually be at practice, so I'll be able to talk about it. So it'll change the way we do things. Cowboy, I got to run, man. I appreciate you. Ellis, let it rip, man. I hope